Greetings, sentient beings. This stream is not intended for children. There may be strong language and adult themes. So, yes, today is L.E.D Day.
Is that celebrating the inventor of the LED?
No, and I'm having trouble finding my citation for it here now.
Oh, well, you look for that.
Well, I don't remember the year, but this was the date that two Japanese inventors were recognized by a Nobel Prize for making the first blue light LED.
Oh, I remember those on the market were like $5 each here in Canada.
Yeah.
For all the rest of them were like a couple of cents each. All the other colors. Blue was $5 though. It was.
I had a friend who was working for HP at the time. They were working on the development of the white LED, and he said at one point that they were costing $150 a piece.
Wow!
In early development.
We never saw the white ones here in the market. Not for the longest time.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and now people just take it for granted because you can go to Walmart and you can buy a 6-foot strip of them for $10 that'll do every color of the rainbow.
Yeah. The thing about white is that if that's the case, then you can just put a color filter over it and you have whatever color you want.
Well, apparently there's something about white that made it the most difficult color to obtain.
Well, actually, that's why they got a Nobel Prize for blue, because that actually turned out to be the most difficult color. That even after they had white ones.
No, white was the last to come. Whites were way after blue.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd have to have blue because you'd have to put all the colors together to get white.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love blue LEDs. They're entrancing to me.
Well, this is my time of the year. Actually, the first week of next month, I'll clean up because, for Halloween, they've got lots of purple and orange lights out. So as soon as those go on the clearance rack.
Yeah, those are popular colors for Halloween. When I was a kid, I made a little circuit that makes two LEDs blink alternating. And you can adjust the speed by changing a resistor or whatever. It had a couple of transistors in it as well. And I stuck it in an old digital wristwatch, a little black one that was the internals had failed. And then when I wore it to school, all the kids were finding it interesting, the ones who noticed it, and it seemed almost everybody wanted one. It didn't matter. It didn't tell the time. They just wanted it because lights blink continuously.
Yep.
I've had a friend who, this was in the last couple of years, worked for an electronics company, and they're putting together some LEDs, high power LEDs. And he gave me one of their little samples, advertising samples, and it was this box about this big, about that big, and about that thick. Extremely well made box. I mean, just beautiful. It was practically a work of art.
Wow.
And you open it up, and there's this LED and some circuitry in it, and you turn it on, and it is blindingly bright. It's just a small LED about this big, and it was just so bright you couldn't believe it. It was painful to look at.
Yeah, I remember the ones I had when I was a kid were just playing with solid state electronics. It was they weren't bright like the newer kind. So the newer ones, they can blind you. They're so bright. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the older ones were just very dim, but it was lovely. It was very nice. We had every color but blue, and the LEDs were usually cheap, less than 2 or 3 cents each, if you bought them in bulk. And then blues came out. They were $5 each here in Canada.
Okay, we've just been joined by Greg Hartwick, my patron.
Oh, great!
Hi, Greg.
And Harmonica Man.
I am Monica.
Yep. When I was 14, so that would have been 79, my stepbrother and I actually did a UFO hoax that we ran a fishing line from his second-story window out around the power lines in the alley and back, and then waited till the middle of the night, and we ran a little little plastic model we made from random parts of a couple of different models, and we had put a little green or a little red and yellow LED in it that would alternate blinking, and we ran that back and forth a couple of times. And yeah, when the local paper came out a couple of days later, there were half a dozen UFO sightings.
Wow, that's pretty neat to have that in the news.
That's funny.
We never rode up to it. Nobody ever knew who did it.
Oh, nice.
Well, like they say, if something is advanced enough, it seems to be like magic.
Yep.
Know?
Yeah, I did a few pranks in elementary school, my late elementary school years, and I got away with almost all of them without getting caught.
Oh,
I generally did too, because people just underestimated me. They never pay attention to the quiet ones.
Well, it's funny. It was years later, maybe just a few years ago, I met up with a friend from that elementary school, and this conversation came up. And so he said, "Oh, you were doing pranks, weren't you?" I said, "Yeah, I did." And he's asking me, "So you did this one, this one?" I said, "No, I didn't do any of those." And he got it completely reversed. The ones he didn't think I did were the ones I did do. And so we had a good laugh about that. And I asked him why he thought that I was doing pranks. And he said that I always had this look on my face like I was up to something. And I told him, "You were right, I was."
Bad boy.
It was fun. I never did any pranks that put anybody in danger. I was careful about that. Some people were doing dangerous pranks, and I'm not. I was never a fan of that. Yeah, I think that's most people do that.
Actually, it only put us in danger, not other people.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm not a fan
different.
of pranks. I'm not a fan of pranks that interfere with a person's busy day or puts them in danger, puts them in harm's way. Or something. And we see that on TV, like in back east here in Canada. I'm in the West End, so in the eastern provinces, I think it was in Toronto, maybe, or maybe in Montreal. Anyway, that's Ontario or Quebec provinces, in case anyone's wondering. There was a TV show where they had these people going out and doing pranks, and a couple of times they pretended to be police officers, and they'd pull people over and waste their time, and then they'd say, "Hi, you're on hidden camera." And they got sued for that. They're not allowed to impersonate police officers.
Yeah, I was going to say, there are definitely legal issues with that.
Yeah, that's a dumb one.
Oh, yeah, they got in trouble for it. And they were saying, "Oh, but it's only a comedy show." Yeah, well, you know what? The person's sitting there waiting. You've made them late for their doctor's appointment, their meeting, or whatever. Oh, they could have told us. No, they're not going to complain to the police about that, because that's not what you do. You be polite and you cooperate, and then you're on your way sooner. But if you're going to complain like that, it's just going to take longer.
Yeah.
Because then they have to listen to you. That's why it's going to take longer. It's not going to speed up the process. So
yeah, it's like getting pulled over and looking at the cop and saying, "Do you know who I am?"
I think most officers are going to probably ask, "Well, I haven't seen your driver's license yet, so no. Why don't you tell me? Go ahead. Let's hear what you have to say." And the time drags on. I can see the officer doing that. They're really good listeners, at least here in Canada.
Yeah, in the U.S., it's kind of random. You get all sorts.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, I have found that the quickest way to get it over with is just be polite, show him the paperwork he wants, and usually he'll send you on your way.
Yeah.
And quite often, if you're just nice about it, they're so disarmed that they often don't even write you a ticket. They'll just give you a warning.
Yeah. And the thing is, here that you'll get that where there's not a quota system, and because what the officers need to show is that they're actually the paperwork's coming through, they're showing things happening, and so a warning or a ticket doesn't matter here. There's no quota system here in Canada, but lots of people think it's a quota system, but it's not. It really isn't. In some places in the U.S. they have a quota system, don't they?
Some places they have a quota system, and even where they don't have a quota system, it still winds up reflecting when the officer's up for review how many tickets they wrote. So it looks
So-
better when they get reviewed for a promotion if they wrote more tickets.
So it's an implicit quota system in that case.
Yeah, there's a
That's
lot
still
of that.
quota. Yeah, it's still a quota system, even though it's just implicit.
Yeah, but it's not on the books as a quota system. But yeah,
That's an unethical approach, I think.
yeah. There's unfortunately that's why we've got all the defund the police things, because the whole system is just not good the way it's all handled.
And pushing back with defund the police is a harsh response to what people consider, quite correctly, to be harsh mistreatment by certain police officers.
The biggest problem with the
hang on.
police.
Let me finish.
Right.
Let me finish. Most of the police officers, I think, are probably just fine. It's just a few who make the whole thing look really bad. But I think there are certain places where it is really bad, right in the whole force. And I think it looks to me like training is inconsistent, and job hiring practices are inconsistent, and different things like that. And that's where part of the problem is. It seems to me like there needs to be a national policing standard that addresses these kind of issues to make things better. And then there needs to be auditing done to make sure, and not by these stupid ex-convicts who've been out impersonating police officers, proclaiming themselves auditors all of a sudden, but actual government department with people with proper training who are doing this in a professional way, in an impartial way. You need to have this kind of stuff to make sure things are being done properly. And it seems to me, from what I gather from what I see in the US, is that's not the case. Sorry, Jenny, go ahead. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't being misunderstood.
The big problem with defund the police movement is just the words that they use. Defund the police to the paranoid and non-thinking right wing. They think that means get rid of all the cops, and it doesn't. Nobody says get rid of all the cops. That would be like foolish.
Yes.
We definitely need a police force. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
But to reallocate, to readjust the police departments and redefine what their job is absolutely essential right now. They shouldn't be taking care of mental health issues. They shouldn't be taking care of domestic issues. They should be dealing with crime. Really? Okay, and bank robberies and burglaries and robberies and beatings and these sorts of things.
The problem I have with that, Jenny, is that when a police officer arrives on the scene, they don't know if the assailant has a mental health issue. So what we found here in Canada is that having training for the police on mental health matters has made a huge improvement in how people are dealt with.
Well, I didn't say they shouldn't be trained, but they shouldn't be the exclusive responder to those types of issues. They're not adequately trained. Well, even with police training specifically designed in that subject area, they're not going to be properly trained.
Sure, but if somebody's acting violently, who are you going to send if not the police? Are you going to have a separate kind of police-like body that deals just with mental health people?
Yep.
Well, inevitably, the police are going to be the first responder, and we'll have to make an assessment about who is most qualified to deal with the situation.
Yeah, they do that here.
Yeah, well, here they don't do that. Here they usually arrest the person and put them in jail and release them the next morning, and nothing's done.
And
so the problem keep repeating over and over.
Exactly.
Domestic violence
is what the problem is.
And the domestic violence issue is another one that is best handled by the police here. They come and they get people calmed down. Like the de-escalation is a big part of the police training here in Canada. And so when I had a neighbor years ago who was beating his wife, so I called and 4 police officers showed up and they got everything calmed down and straightened out. And then I think there was a bunch of follow-up with other people who have specialization in this. I'm more in favor of not setting up a whole separate police-like department to deal with mental health issues, because I see this as potentially being a hindrance, because if you're calling for somebody, then the question is this a mental health person causing the problem or not? Well, we just need to deal with it and get things de-escalated. That's what we need to be the priority, and then figure that stuff out later instead of,
Yeah, well, it's not even setting up a separate department. It's like most counties already have a mental health department.
Yeah.
If police can spend the money on having a SWAT,
Yeah.
a SWAT team. They can spend the money to have a mental health team.
Yeah, even when they bring somebody in and
Sure.
realize it's a mental health problem, they generally don't call a counselor.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, and people describe the call on the phone to dispatcher, and the dispatcher will dispatch the right people out. They'll ambulance, fire, police, depending on what's going on the scene. But that worked. We've had good success with that here.
Yeah.
That's working well, and
Well-
the additional training they've had for dealing with mental health issues has actually been successful here.
And I want somebody to explain to me how they can see it as anything other than racism, or possibly stupidity. Other than racism, when you get into a situation like the one that just happened within the last week or so, where there was a black man who was intervening in a domestic violence thing at a convenience store or gas station or something, and he was trying to break it up and settle it down and de-escalate and stuff. A cop comes along, and this guy walks away from it. That the cops here, it's not my job anymore, and the cop shot him in the back because the cop assumed that he was the perpetrator.
Holy cow!
Unfortunately, that's a fairly common occurrence.
And killed him. Now, explain to me how that's not a racist situation there.
Yeah, and Harmonica Man saying that internal investigations need to stop, and yes, they need more transparency. Like when a cop does shoot someone, the general public should have access to the records and probably even the body cam. So, someone outside the department gets to see what really happened.
Is there any word on what the officer's explanation for that event was?
No, I haven't heard anything about
Yeah.
that, and I doubt we will until.
I need more information before I can make
into-
an assessment, but the situation sounds really bad. Because innocent people should not be getting shot in the back.
Nope.
Yeah, well, and
But
that's what started all the protests and the
it
riots.
happens way too much. That's the issue.
Yeah, and Brainbug, as far as the frequency that police are pulling their guns, because there are a lot of countries that the police don't even carry guns.
In Canada, they do, but auxiliary forces don't, and that was changed a while ago. I was actually seriously looking at joining auxiliary here, and then I found out that the auxiliary officers are not armed, so I refused. I'm not in favor of people carrying guns willy-nilly here. I'm very much in favor of the strict licensing that we have because it works well. Mm-hmm. But if you're in the role of police officer, it's important to have the proper tools. And the thing is, what I told the officers, because they're asking why, and I said, because the kind of people who are going to notice that an officer is not armed are the kind of people who are going to most likely cause the most trouble for them. And they said that's right, and that's a good street smart perspective. And the officers agreed with me, the ones I talked to about this. And there's a politician here who really pushed hard for taking guns away from auxiliary, and that guy has kind of an axe to grind with the policing in general. And he's just one of those daft politicians with a Rush Limbaugh type opinionated guy who's got a lot of opinions, but not a lot to back them up. And he somehow managed to convince enough politicians to agree with him to get rid of that. So here, it's a necessary tool for the police because they do encounter some dangerous people. Most of the time, we rarely see the police actually pulling out their firearm and using it, and they're able to successfully de-escalate the vast majority of dangerous scenarios here. But there are occasions where they have needed to do that. So I'm actually glad that they have the tools.
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying that the police shouldn't carry guns, especially in the U.S. because it's so easy for anyone to get a gun. So yeah, they need to have them. I think a lot of it does go that they have to be trained more for different situations.
Well, I saw a guy walking around in the park a few years ago here, probably about somewhere 7 or 8 years ago, and he was dressed all in black, looked kind of like a uniform, but it wasn't a police outfit. And he had a big gun on his belt. And he's walking along, and I'm wondering, I don't see any vehicles around or anything. So I called up 911. Police were there in less than a minute. And more police cars started rolling in, and they ended up finding out the guy was actually working for one of those armored car services, and he was just walking across the park. It was at a school in a park, and he was walking all the way across the parking lot over to a washroom at a public pool. And so the officers explained to him that he's not following the proper regulations for permitted firearms here. Walking through the park is not part of what he's allowed to do, because he was not there on business to pick up stuff. And normally they park right next to the building when they do that. They don't park all the way across the park like that. So
Right.
yeah, so he only had a warning, but it was an important point, because all he was doing was going to use the washroom apparently. So they should have parked the truck near that, and then it wouldn't have been an issue. So because he's walking all the way through there and he wasn't dressed as police, that's how this happens. So we do take this stuff very seriously here, but we're also I find that we're generally pretty easygoing with allowing people to make mistakes and just give them a warning, and things carry on, because this works, I think, a lot better for society, because usually a warning is enough to get people to think about, oh yeah, I better not do this again, and it's already a great deterrent without creating a record for people.
Yeah. I do have to put something out there. I may have to disappear rather quickly here, because apparently the electrician is around the building today and going to come and be doing some work in my apartment at some point.
Oh.
Which, of course, they're doing it today, because I told
Yeah.
them specifically any day except Wednesday is fine.
Where is Hans? P.S. Hansen. Which country are you in?
Slavovia.
Okay, he's commenting. He or she is commenting. As far as I know, police here has access to guns, but doesn't typically carry guns. And yeah, there's and there are countries that do that. I think. Yeah, actually, if they're off duty, that stuff is as I understand, is relinquished at the police station, and they have all that stuff stored in their lockers. So when they come to work, they're unarmed, and when they start work, is they're doing that stuff at the station, not from their home. Typically, that's my understanding here. It's different on the Indian reserves here. Indian land, they seem to be more lax on those rules, but the rest of Canada is quite strict about this.
In America, the cops will wear their weapon to and from work. And,
Yeah, that's not allowed here.
And off duty.
Yeah, that's not allowed here.
Yeah.
The exception would be undercover police, because they don't want to be seen entering and leaving the police station while they're undercover. But there's special policies and procedures for all that.
Yeah,
A woman
like
I worked with was married to a cop back in Milwaukee, and he and his partner went to a bar after hours, and one of them was carrying his gun yet, and trouble started, and he ended up using his gun. It was considered a good shoot, but boy, he went through the ringer for a couple of years for that, and my friend's husband did too, because he was the partner. And holding the partner responsible as much as the other guy, and it's like, well,
they have to look out for each other. That's the mentality.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that gets carried too far, and that's part of the problem we're having with the police is, like you said earlier, it's really, there's only a few bad cops, but the ones who, want to do things the right way, even when they see a cop using excessive force, they can't really say anything about it without risking their own job.
Unfortunately, we do have our share of police officers here who are not ethical, who do create problems. I'll be right back.
Well, this has a lot to do with LEDs, eh?
Hey, Hey, we actually stayed on topic for, a good 15 minutes. And for this show, that's probably a record. I mean, it's gotten to be a fairly regular thing that we're off topic before I hit the live button.
Well, then you just make everybody talk about the same thing they did before you hit live, so you don't lose the show.
Hey, Stool.
Oh no!
I've heard a rumor. I don't know if this is true or not, but did you just stay on topic for about 15 minutes or something?
Yeah, we actually talked about LED lights for about 15 minutes when we started.
So it's true. It happened.
Yeah,
Wow.
You'll have to go back and watch the beginning of the show later.
I don't watch your crap. No.
I don't.
Hello.
I don't either.
Hey, I see Hans' message here to tell me that he's from Norway, and I tell you, like with Norway, the experimentation they've been doing with new prison approach looks really, really good to me, and I'd be curious to hear from Hans what he thinks of that, where they're focusing more on rehabilitation, because that's something I advocate for here in Canada and all around the world, is that we kind of move from a punishment model and into a rehabilitation model as much as we possibly can.
Oh yeah, I definitely support that, and that gets into another problem with the U.S. system, is that they privatized so many prisons.
That's an atrocity in my view.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. We don't do that here.
Yeah, so there's a profit motive for them to put more people in jails and keep more people in jail, even to the point that I think it was Louisiana, but one of the states got sued by the corporation that ran the prisons for not meeting their quota of incarcerating enough people.
That is so wrong. See, that's where a human rights perspective needs to come into play there, because if you have a capitalistic goal to incarcerate people, that's a capitalistic goal to take away people's rights. That's a motive. There should never be a motive to take away people's rights, ever.
Yeah, having a profit motive behind the prisons just screws so many things up.
Would that be a worse thing or a less worse thing than a judge who's sitting on the bench handing out sentences, owning stock in the prison company?
Oh, well.
Unfortunately, that happens too.
Oh, that's just another part of the whole problem. That's just another symptom, I think.
Yep.
And that's also bad. That judge should not be there if they're doing that, if they're found to be doing that. The fact that prisons are privatized makes it an opportunity for people to invest in them is also wrong.
I agree. It's very bad. I can't think of a worse thing to do with prisons than to privatize them and to have public stockholders and stuff. That money as a motivator should just not exist in this at all.
Right.
At all. I mean, everybody should have the best lawyer they can possibly get, and nobody should be paying a bill for it.
Now, Robert X is touching on an attitude which is reminiscent of lock them up and throw away the key. And this is the whole point about rehabilitation, is to kind of move away from that mindset, because we're all living on this planet together. We need to help each other as a species instead of working against each other. But it's a common attitude, because there's a lot of people just don't know what to do, and people keep recommitting crimes, getting back into the crime scene. And part of the reason that people keep going back to crime is because they're not getting the rehabilitation that they need when they're in prison. They're not getting re-educated. They're not getting help for drug problems or whatever else their issues are, or the psychological help that they need. And so when they get let back out in society, it's a matter of, okay, what do they know? They're going to go back to what they know.
Well, and another problem here is there's such a stigma that once it's on somebody's record that they're in prison, they are required to put that on all the job applications and all their housing applications if they're trying to rent an apartment or buy a home. And they're usually turned down for that.
That
So
runs.
it's like, once once that little box is checked, it's hard for them to function in society again.
That runs contrary to a couple of things. One is rehabilitation efforts, but the other one to prison. Okay, somebody's done their time in prison, and they're still getting penalized for it afterwards.
I was always
This is
raised with the
beyond unfair.
concept that you go to prison to pay what was terminology that was used, pay your price to pay. You've paid a debt to society by going to prison.
Yeah,
And
that's exactly what prison's supposed to be. Now, it's understandable that somebody who is in for a certain type of crime, say child molestation, be restricted in the type of work they can do afterwards. But that's also supported by research that shows that the reoffense rate on those is extremely high.
Yeah, well, and in a lot of states in the U.S., if someone has been convicted of a felony, they have lost the right to vote for the rest of their life. You know, and
which is
again,
bullshit.
it's like, okay, once they've served their time, if they've served out their sentence, if they've done everything according to what the judge prescribed, then once their sentence is over, their rights should be restored.
So Robert X is correcting me, saying that he's not saying lock him up and throw away the key. And I just want to make sure that I'm not misunderstanding what he said. I was just pointing out that I should have said it reminded me of people having that kind of attitude. But he did say something different. Yeah. Sorry about that, Robert. I didn't mean to misrepresent what you were saying.
I think it's completely valid for a society to have the attitude of that some people, you lock them up and throw away the key. I mean,
There are a few extreme cases, but
what were we going to do with Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yeah.
With Charles Manson?
Yeah, there are a few very extreme cases that, there really isn't much you could do to rehabilitate them.
That's right. That's correct. And that is, but I think those cases are quite rare. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people doing a lot more time in prison than is appropriate.
Okay, be back in a second here.
Well, we've gotten to a deep topic. What do you think about this hovercraft?
I'm not getting involved. I'm just here to keep an eye on you people. And if I hear you staying on topic for more than 10 minutes at a time, I will phone Randolph again. You'll hear the phone ring, and that's your sign to start talking nonsense, okay? I'm like the referee here.
You're involved then.
So how do they decide who gets to have sex with your queen?
Excuse me?
Okay.
Where did that come from?
That came from Jen.
Out of the deep bowels of my mind.
Your mind has been deboweled?
Yep.
Yeah. All over me. Dirty pervert. Right.
Well,
I'll go back into my corner and I'm watching you. Now behave, okay?
Okay.
Well, Jenny, you sure gave him a match.
Stool's pretty easy to do that too.
Oh, you did it well.
It's the swans.
The swan?
It's the swans. You have to have sex with a swan. Right, carry on.
You said next time we cross paths, you were gonna Welsh me. What does that mean?
You might need to look that up in Urban Dictionary.
No, you can't lead me down this path. I'm being a very good boy. Now carry on your adult conversation, boys and girls.
And why are you behaving today?
I'm just repeating what you said. I'm not leading you anywhere.
I'm not going to get drawn into this.
Silly.
How about painting in?
No, carry on having your grown-up conversation about prisons and stuff. Okay.
Just not quartered.
Well, if we take it further and we ate him.
Robert X further clarified that he was referring to extreme cases. Yeah.
I keep hearing these rumors, or urban myths, I think is maybe even better way to put it, that China forces its prisoners to donate organs and stuff.
I'm not aware of that. I know people who are there. I've recently decided I don't want to really get into China because the last few times I've engaged with people on it, the discussion got very heated and people became extremely unfriendly. I will leave it at this, that there is propaganda on both sides. There's a lot of stuff left out of the reporting here. And I know people in China who they see quite different reporting there than we have here, and it goes both ways. They leave out stuff that goes on here as well in their reporting there. So, yeah,
unfortunately,
I tend to think it's not true, but okay.
Yeah,
It's
I've
not
heard
true as
that
far as I know.
claim. I haven't seen anything to validate it,
No,
but
of course.
unfortunately, it is a claim that the extreme right here likes to use to scare people.
Yeah, as far as I know, they're not doing that. They have, they're just like here. They have a program that tries to match people in the hospitals. And they're trying to match people who are in need of organs with people who are willing to donate and that sort of thing. I think their whole process for handling it is probably different than what we do here, but it's still a consensual thing.
Yeah, and in the U.S. too, there are programs like that, and it is something that, again, while there aren't written out specifications for it, it is something that the prisoners are aware that if they will donate an organ, then when they come up to the parole board for review, they could shorten their sentence.
Oh.
Yeah, that should be incidental. That shouldn't be part of the parole consideration.
Yeah, well, again, it's like the unwritten quota system. It's
Yeah.
not written down that happens, but everybody knows that happens.
Well, the problem with making it something that's considered is that it can become a coercive thing for people to sacrifice some of their bodily autonomy. They'll feel like, because to be in prison it's a really horrific environment to live in. People will do anything to get out of there.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think John Hinckley, not John Hinckley, Mark David Chapman is ever going to walk? The guy who killed John Lennon?
Probably not. And that, just because it's such a high profile thing, if he's up for parole, it'll be in the media.
Yeah.
I don't think John Hinckley will ever get out either. The guy who went after Reagan.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if you attack someone famous, yeah, probably not.
It's sad that that's a point of delineation.
Mm-hmm. It just kind of shows an example of the two-tiered system we have in this country.
See, in our Charter of Rights and Freedoms here in Canada, which is part of our Constitution, there's a point in there that specifically states that every person is equal under the law. And that, like, some people even think our rights only apply to citizens, and that's only true of the democratic rights to participate by voting. And the rest of the rights are just anybody who's here in our borders. So freedom of expression is included, things like that. In the U.S., do you happen to know if you have something like that states that everybody's equal under the law?
Well, it is in the Constitution, but
it is.
Well, not in that many words. It's. I think it's certainly inferred, but I don't know of anything that specifically says that
Ours spells it out specifically
as an intent.
Okay. Yeah, ours
we
spells
hold
out
these rights to be self-evident that all men are created equally, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. That is in the Constitution.
Unalienable, not inalienable.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, but that didn't mean anything when it came to slavery, and it didn't mean anything when it came to women's votes, or the civil rights movement or anything. So,
Yeah.
how far does that go?
Well, that's what I mean. That the wording is there, but it hasn't really always been run that way. Because even under that, they still had slavery for 150 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even today, we still have a very large segment of the population that will fight to the death for certain people to not have equal rights. That they see people having equal rights as an advantage over everybody else's rights. It's like what?
Yeah, the people who automatically have the rights seem to take the attitude that if they give the rights to more people, that somehow diminishes their rights.
Yep.
Robert X made a point about if you're poor or you're not white colored skin, you're going to be disadvantaged. Those aren't his exact words; it's pretty close. And if you're both, then it's even worse. It's unfortunate that this is the case for a lot of different countries. That's not unique to the U.S. and to different degrees. To a small degree, that's also true here, unfortunately. I think we pale in comparison, say, to the U.S. on that. But there's other things that we do that I think we can do a lot better on. And I don't know if Robert might have some ideas on what needs to be done to correct that problem that he's identified. I'd be interested to know his perspective.
I think the only way you're going to correct something like that is to change the morality of people, because that's really what it comes down to, is the moral issue of self-superiority over others, and thinking that they don't deserve the same thing that you do, for whatever reason, whether that's race or income or anything. To look at anyone and say, I deserve more than you, or I'm better than you, it's just bullshit.
This is why I favor education having, like here in Canada, it's mandatory. All children must go to school and get a public education at the very least, or public quality education here. And we have strict standards on that, on what the base requirements are for all of that for each province to implement. And so that comes down from the federal level. And then the provinces usually expand on that quite a bit. Like here in BC, we recently added logic and critical thinking to the course material for the elementary school years. What I would really like to see, and I think this is a wonderful addition, it is, we actually see it with our kids in school. They're being taught those things. And the critical thinking part is being taught in English class, which surprises people. They think it should mostly be math, but no, actually, because it's about reading and understanding and comprehending. So it fits perfectly in a language class, actually. I think what we need to do is bring this right down to starting from the kindergarten level, make it part of the curriculum. It doesn't have to be a huge part of it, but if it's a small part of it, that would be fine, because just having a little bit in there will make, I think, a tremendous difference. So teaching critical thinking, also teaching philosophy, starting from kindergarten, and it can just be very basic kind of things, and ethics and other parts of philosophy like that. If we do that, I think we encourage people indirectly that way to discuss morality and ethics and different things like that are all philosophical topics, and doubled up with critical thinking skills. They can really be discussed very, very well. That can be really, really good for society. But I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I'd be happy to hear it.
Go ahead, it's your show.
I think this is a way to get to what Jenny is suggesting. What we need is to.
Yeah. Randolph, you are starting to break up there. Your mic was like sputtering.
Oh, sorry. What part did you hear to?
You might want to try to refresh your router. It sounds like you've got just a bad connection.
Okay, hang on a sec. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay.
Oh, then we can talk about LEDs more. Or having sex with Queen Elizabeth, you know.
I'm watching.
Yes, but he's busy getting the eels out of his hovercraft.
He's got eels in his hovercraft?
Yes. My
Ew.
hovercraft is full of eels.
Oh, your hovercraft.
All hovercrafts are full of eels.
All hovercrafts are full of eels.
How do you figure?
Oh, God.
Apparently, you don't watch Monty Python.
No, I haven't seen that part of it.
Okay.
But I do remember the 127th annual Twit of the Year contest. So
Oh. Okay, and I was a bit distracted here too because Amiga Nuts is not with us tonight.
oh no.
So I am busy here trying to search for all the links to get in the description. To make sure that everybody gets credit, and if, you know, because apparently there are people who will watch this in the future, and I want to make sure that they can actually find everybody who was on here if they have questions or want to go and harass someone.
I think you should be able to hear me better. I've switched over to a wired connection. I was on
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
you're sounding much better.
Much better.
Okay, so maybe I'll just say all that again. I think here what we do is like.
Nope, now it's starting to sputter again.
Oh, it shouldn't be because I'm on a wired connection now. Maybe StreamYard's acting up.
Yeah, it could be. I don't see anything I can do with it from this end, though.
That's understandable. Okay. Am I still stuttering?
Or your government is watching you and is tired of what you're saying, so they're blocking you. I think that's it.
You're not as bad as you were, but it's still a little bit there.
I'll try it again. I'll be much briefer this time. Like Jenny was talking about, people need to have a better sense of morality in society. That was the kind of a theme you were touching on. And I agree. And I think one way to really help get us there is to have better, improve our education system. We do have critical thinking recently added to our education system here in Canada, in BC in particular, down to certain elementary school levels. I would like to see critical thinking and philosophy added to our curriculum right down to kindergarten. And it doesn't have to be a major part of the curriculum, but at least it's there as a minor part, so it's taken seriously. And then when people grow up, they have the intellectual tools that they need to discuss more issues of morality and philosophy with the capability of critical thinking as being, so we can have some really good conversations about this and really progress well, I think. I don't know, Jenny, does that sound like a good approach to you for getting to where we need to in society?
I absolutely think so. The earlier you get to people and start trying to form behaviors, the better. You know, I think everybody would agree with that. However, in this country, and I'm sure that to a certain degree in yours too, there's going to be a certain group of the ignorati who are going to look at that and see that as communism.
Yeah,
you know, that you're trying to create some sort of a group mind think, and that's communism. Can't do that. It's against the Lord and all those kinds of things. So it would be
in the U.S.
I think it would be difficult to make it happen, but I think that's the correct route to go.
Well, I think we have to start with teaching critical thinking at all, which our schools just don't.
True.
You know, and we have to get that in there first so that people will start questioning some of the things that they've already been taught and realize that just because it's a new concept does not automatically mean it's communist.
Well, you know.
By the way,
I'm talking about the current mood, you know.
No, I'm agreeing with you, and that's the attitude. It's like you try to introduce anything new, and they automatically go to that's communist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just divert for a moment because somebody in the chat was asking about LEDs. So here's an orange LED to honor our host.
Boy, that thing's as big as your head.
Well,
Oh,
I zoomed in. I zoomed it in. It's it's bigger than my head. See that?
Okay, finished.
must
I've
have been
actually got 3
expensive.
orange and 1 green here. I think what we're talking about is quite an important one, quite an important subject. We have here in Canada, we hear people in the U.S., especially politicians when it's on the news, saying that, oh, we're socialist here, which is the gateway to communism, which doesn't make any sense to us at all here. We do have socialized Medicare and other things that are socialized here, and it works very well. But we're definitely not communist. And so the people here that complain about it are definitely, you touched on, consistent with the Lord attitude, and that attitude definitely prevails here with people who are anti-healthcare, anti-socialism, all this kind of stuff, the right wing. But they're not calling us communist here from within. We're just they do see the socialized part of it, and the attitude definitely comes across with a bunch of them. Not all, interestingly, but many of them that will say they don't like the idea of paying for somebody else's health problems. And my attitude, and the attitude of most of the Canadians I know, is that we're okay with paying for that because, and we hope that we'll never have to use these medical services ourselves. But if we do, at least, or somebody else does, at least we're happy that we've paid into this, because it takes a huge amount of pressure and stress off of people having to worry about what their next medical bill will be. They don't have to worry about this. They can carry on with life. You can't predict in most cases if somebody's going to get cancer or need an amputation because they got the flesh-eating disease or something else. And if I'm paying taxes into helping people have a better quality life, I'm very happy for that. I think I'm in a system that's working well.
Well, they're also ignorant to the fact that yes, part of what you're putting in is paying for somebody else, but part of what I'm putting in is paying for you. You know, so and they just don't understand the concept of
even they don't like the system.
One from many. You know, it's.
And even if they disagree with the system, I'm still happy that our medical system can help them when they're in trouble, and that's okay with me. Because and I hear a little bit of rhetoric coming out. Sometimes people say, "Oh, well, if they're using drugs or they're alcoholics, they should have to pay their own way just for that." And what I see that is a strategic angle to get toward desocializing healthcare. And those are people who just want to do it one step at a time, rather than taking it all out at once. If anybody's curious about how healthcare got started here in Canada, especially if you're advocating for it in the US, take a look at the name Tommy Douglas. Tommy Douglas was a politician here who got the whole thing going. And he had quite a lot of struggle doing it because local doctors here didn't want their private practice to be competed with by public health care. So he asked for volunteers, and a lot of doctors volunteered from the U.S. to come here and help us. It was fantastic. Our neighbors in the U.S. helped us get socialized health care.
I must admit, was not aware of that until this moment.
Yeah, so Tommy Douglas.
Tommy Douglas. That sounds like it's worth investigating.
Yeah, if you're looking for good argumentation for healthcare, in nationalized healthcare in the U.S., that's socialized healthcare, then he's definitely one you should not overlook.
The other portion that the ignorati completely pretends isn't there is that we already have so many things in the United States that are completely socialized. In the same vein that we would like to see socialized medicine. Let's see, there's called things like the police department, the fire department, the highway department, the park department,
the military,
and the military. It's like, folks, you are already a socialist nation. You just don't understand what it is, so you can't see it.
Well, because they take socialism and communism as being the same thing.
Well, sure.
That's a problem in the thinking because they're different systems.
Yeah.
There are different things that can work together or not work together. It depends on how the system is structured.
Yeah, well, and socialism is from the same root word as society. To function as a society, there are certain things we have to do as a group. Doing them individually just doesn't work.
The bad people in America, up until 92, whenever the wall came down, the scary monster under the bed was communism.
Mm-hmm.
So people of a certain age in America, they'll call people they don't like commies. But after 92, they needed a new monster, so it became socialism. There's not a single, I don't mean you people, but there's not a single American who knows what socialism actually is.
Well,
All they
Bernie
know is
Sanders.
they've been told that it's hiding under the bed. And if you vote for these filthy commie Democrats, socialism is going to come out from under your bed. It will eat your child and shit in your cornflakes.
I was taught
fear.
about socialism by a guy named Frank Zeidler. And if you look him up in history, you'll find out that he was a two-time mayor of Milwaukee and one of the 4 socialist mayors that Milwaukee had over a period of time in the 1900s. Isn't that weird to say, the 1900s? The early part of the 19th century. Oh, that's even harder to say. But Milwaukee did have 4 socialist mayors. It was the only urban area in the country that did have such a run of socialism in its government. And it made marvelous improvements in the city and the county structure that to this day still exist and are considered to be very, very desirable to have in a city. So you can't tell me that socialism is a bad thing. Socialism and democracy can and do coexist. Get used to it, right wing.
Okay, and I want to give a special thank you. Geo Sam said he just purchased the case I was looking at for my new computer.
Wow!
Oh, yay!
So, I very much appreciate that, and yeah, I'm waiting because the 13th and 14th will be Amazon Prime Day, so I'm going to wait and see if any of the stuff goes on sale. So I probably won't actually be to the point of assembling the new machine until like the first week in November at this point.
I'd like to mention to him while he's in the chat that if he'd look at my wish list, he'd see that I have a Lamborghini listed. He'd be more than welcome to buy that for me if he wanted.
You got that on Amazon?
Yeah, they have them on Amazon. They're
Nice. They have Lamborghinis there. They sell everything on Amazon.
They probably have everything, yeah.
That's very nice of him to pitch in.
Let's see.
Oh, and now Amiga Nuts is here.
Oh, great.
So, thank you, Amiga.
He's always promoting everybody's channels. Thank you for that.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't been able to keep up to show the links out in the stream, but I've been getting them in the description.
It's good. Yeah, he recently corrected my link because for YouTube it wasn't wrong, but we've got the more official formal one that actually has my custom URL in it. So that's good to have that there.
Yeah. Actually, I needed to check the list because I wasn't sure if he had my custom URL in it.
Yeah, I directed him to the Atheist Frontier website because I've done a lot of research to figure out people's custom URLs and use them as much as I can.
Okay, yeah, he does. The list he sent me does have mine right.
My gosh, why are they doing this every Wednesday at 1:00? They test the tornado sirens.
Yeah, it's pretty much a national thing. It's here too. It's just the first Wednesday of the month. It's not every Wednesday.
It's been going on for almost 5 minutes now.
Yeah, it's just dying down here. Yeah, I hear it in the background though there. That has been the one thing with living here is I've had to get used to a lot of sirens. Because I'm on the ground floor facing the street that happens to have the bridge that goes over the river. And we're just a half a mile from the hospital. So I basically have ambulances going by all the time here.
Oh, you're a big town then.
Not a huge one. It's like 35,000 people, something like that.
That's pretty big.
Yeah. Certainly a big improvement over the town I was in Michigan. That was 3,000 people, and they only managed that because back around 2010, they merged 3 adjacent towns together.
All right. Is your audience ready for some LED porn?
Okay, back on the subject here.
So here's a technical one that's yeah. This,
1980s style.
So Randolph is going to explain to us how these things work, huh?
No, I'm just showing the diagrams. This is only but the power flows through it only in one direction to light it up. If it goes in the other direction, it won't light up.
It's a diode.
Yep, because it's a diode. So people use a bridge rectifier, which is a 4 diodes connected together, so that if you're plugging in it, if the power source is alternating current, then you'll have a steady on. You'll have steady power flowing through in the right direction, depending how you hook it up. And so that works quite well. Now you'll notice if you've ever experimented with this, if you've taken alternating current hooked up to a diode, it flickers. It flickers extremely fast. Here in North America, it's 60 hertz. I mean, 60 times a second that the power switches direction. And so the LED is only on half the time. So it has this very subtle flickering effect. Whereas if it's direct current, it will be on solid. I'll just go through.
Which is why, folks in the chat, that sometimes you'll see video or film work done with LED lighting, and you'll see that those lights are flickering because of the frame rate conflict with the flash rate or cycling rate of the power supply.
That's right. Yeah. And then just some other pictures of LEDs. You're right. These are like 1980s style. Like this is what I played around with in the 1980s, and the one I'm showing on the screen looks like that orange one there. So right here. So.
Although those are still one of the most durable designs of a LED made.
These are the ones
those
that
are tough.
Yeah, and it's the red ones that I put into my wristwatch and brought to school that time. So that was, and here's a few more pictures. These are the newer, shinier ones that were much brighter. That came out later on, and I kind of prefer these older ones because they're more frosted kind of look, and you get a much gentler light. These ones I find they're sharp and they cut into your eyes, and it's not really nice because but they sure make a product look shiny and new and fancy and expensive though. And here you see different shapes. These little ones you'd see in like little remote control units, and they're an oblong shape, or to some people just call them rectangles. And then they come in all different shapes and sizes. So this is the size we've been looking at. These ones are extra large. They're kind of rare. I've hardly ever seen them, and I usually don't see purple. And there's just some nice art. So there you go. That's the end. Yeah.
Purple is always hard to find in anything.
Yeah, so here they've got purple.
Not here. We see purple.
Here they've got orange. So we got purple and orange in here anyway. So we got everything properly covered for you.
Yeah, and what Robert's mentioning here that now there are a lot of LEDs that can display a whole range of colors depending on how the voltage is applied.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, and then they got the surface mount LEDs. SMD is what stands for surface mount design. I believe the D is for design. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Okay, and Greg Hartwick asking, a solar cell can run as an LED? I'm not familiar with how that would work.
A solar cell, you mean for photovoltaic array to generate power in the house? Yeah,
I assume that's what he's talking about.
If that's what you're referring to, no, it cannot, because it is a unit that develops power, not displays it or to release it.
The other possibilities Greg is referring to one of those units that detects light and is just a switch.
Well, okay, well.
But probably I'm thinking solar cell, like what you're thinking of.
Yeah. Well, okay, any
The power source.
optoelectronic sensor
Led Zeppelin. That's a great
will
pun.
will sense light, not create it.
Yeah. So
Okay, cold cathodes. I don't know what that's in reference to either.
I'm not an expert. I used to know this stuff.
A cold cathode is just basically a form of fluorescent light that doesn't depend on the same temperatures of little elements inside that heat up and excite the gas.
Yeah. So, yeah, purple rhymes with orange. I figured it would be important to get some pictures of LEDs here, given the subject. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, it's a small.
So brought us back on topic.
And I apologize for bringing science and information into this, and I think Randolph should apologize as well.
No, that's good here.
I'm glad you brought it in because that's perfect for a show like this. I actually enjoyed the conversation we were having about rights and prison reform and things too, though. Those are important. So.
Well, see, that's why people should go to college, is because you learn all these different things, and you can talk about lots of different stuff if you actually were paying attention in school. Because you learn lots of stuff.
I was a prankster. I didn't always pay attention.
Well, yeah, I dig that too.
Yeah, I didn't always pay attention to what they wanted me to, but yeah, I do have a bit of a problem with just my general attention span, or just my interest in things at the moment. So I jump around a lot, and as a result, I know a little bit about a lot of things, and I don't know a lot about any one thing.
It's better to have well-rounded knowledge, I think. It's good to have a few specialties and a bunch of well-rounded knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm watching on TV right now a guy having mad skills that I wish I had, that I just don't. Tommy Silva on This Old House. These house guys are so fucking smart.
Yeah, what are they doing?
Well, right now he's just installing this cable-based railing system, and replacing a wooden setup. But and I've seen it before, but it's just neat the way these guys can think. All the tricks and things that they've learned for how to find the center of this weird thing fast, or how to size things up without having to think or measure or actually look at a ruler. And
wow,
it's just neat that they.
And that's the kind of stuff that I liked. The classic This Old House. But the new stuff, when they got up to having $700,000 to refurbish a barn, I was like, let's get back to some project that I might actually be involved in my lifetime.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's why they came out with Ask This Old House.
Yeah.
Is because
that was trying to go back to the original.
Yeah. And that's what's on right now.
Neil's been a great help to me in getting some renovations done here that we're going to be using for the True North Talk Show studio as well. It'll be kind of a permanent home for it. So we posted a few videos online, and people are joking about us becoming a home improvement program. That's not the intention, but we're going to have some more updates soon, because we need to fix the roof. I'll need to do a bunch of wiring, and I'll probably do a full video when I'm doing a bunch of the wiring. And because I need to put in data cables, USB cables, and electrical cables in the walls, and video cables as well. So it's all this kind of stuff I need to set up so we can have no wires running across the floor while we're in the studio. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've done quite a lot of that stuff.
Just remember, keep the video and computer stuff away from the AC. Or you get interference.
Oh, you're talking air conditioning for AC?
AC power.
Oh yeah, no, I know that. I do wiring for a living. You're right.
Oh, so, you do? I didn't realize that.
I do. It's not a major part of what I do, but when I ran conduit through my yard to somewhere where I want to have data and electrical, I put them in two different conduits with some distance between them, because you're totally right. There is interference from that. It's awful. And a lot of people don't see it. And the reason it doesn't show up, like they'll say, oh, well, it seems to be working. Yeah, and you go and take a look at the speed, and you're going to find your speed has dropped a lot because of the electromagnetic interference from the AC wiring.
Mhm.
And the funny thing is with Ethernet on the computers, it's self-correcting, so it will retry sending the packet, and then after a few retries, everything's okay again. So that comes out as a lower speed is the problem. So the other thing that people
AC
do,
absolutely mystifies me. I don't get AC at all. I'm a DC person, and we run into AC interference when it comes to alternators in car circuitry. But that's as far as my knowledge of AC goes. I couldn't do a dual switch wiring in a house.
Oh.
Two switches, one bulb. I couldn't do
Yeah,
that
well,
to
that's
save my soul.
well, that's a
I-
logic thing. So you need to have 3 wires for that to make
Yeah,
that happen. Yeah.
don't even bother. I've had
I've made my
masters
living
try to teach me that.
for close to 40 years. I made my living just doing general home repair, so I've had to be everything: carpenter, plumber, electrician, all at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, wood scares me. It's too soft. I can't work with it.
I know. I think Thomas Edison was very strongly against AC. He was very pro DC, wasn't he?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to the point of being predatory about it to a degree, I think.
Well, and even to the point of spreading some very bad propaganda that AC was more dangerous.
They're both dangerous.
Didn't he use DC to kill an elephant once or something or did he use AC to do that to
Well,
demonstrate
worse
how
than that,
dangerous it was?
He actually built the first electric chair that was used for executions. And he did that intentionally to prove how dangerous AC current was, that it could kill people. Trying to imply that would never happen with DC current, but
you can kill somebody with 1 volt if you punch enough amps through it.
Right.
It's the amperage that kills you, not the voltage.
Yep.
Yeah, and AC will have more of a cutting feeling because the electrons are just basically shaking back and forth. They're not traveling a long distance. Whereas with DC, they travel a long distance. So the downside of DC is over a long distance, you get degradation in power. But with AC, you can go much, much longer before you start to notice any degradation. It'll still degrade as well, but it'll be very, very, very close to unnoticeable. But the one difference, though, is with the AC current, it cuts off the insulation a lot faster. So all those wires on those overhead wiring, those wires are all naked. There's no insulation on them.
Yep.
So, but with DC, it'll take a lot longer for it to cut through that because the electrons aren't shaking back and forth.
Yeah, well, and that's the most important advantages as far as a power grid goes is that, AC is better to transmit over long distances. DC you can store in batteries.
And for the chat who don't know about this kind of stuff, we've all seen oscilloscope traces, that squiggly line on a TV screen. What he's referring to of it vibrating back and forth is the up and down wave motion that creates for it to be going positive to negative, flipping back and forth.
That's the cycle.
Passing through the neutral. That actually creates a physical movement in the wire. You can actually see it and photograph it. I've seen really cool high-speed photography where they take a filament, incandescent filament, and power it, and you can see it begin to shake and expand and contract before it actually illuminates.
Wow.
It's amazing. It was just amazing.
See that. That'll be interesting. Yeah, and that's another thing. People often have this misconception that electricity is traveling through the wires. It's only traveling on the surface.
Yeah.
Because those electrons are moving. They can't move through solid wire or they'll melt it. So if you put too much voltage on, too much power through it, then you can melt the wires. So.
And when you look at DC on an oscilloscope, it's just a straight line.
That's right. And so this alternating current, alternating positive and negative, is it's done 60 times a second here in North America. That's referred to as 60 hertz, in case anybody's wondering about that.
And if you increase it, then it's known as really hertz. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's why you get these weird things like DC travels along pretty quietly and doesn't really it's very consistent, so you don't really have a problem with it interfering with signals too much. But with AC, it does all kinds of weird stuff with signal noise and whatnot. So that's why you see all that.
Okay, bye, Harmonica Man.
Goodbye. Take care.
Bye
Thanks
bye.
for joining us, Harmonica Man. Just saying
Okay.
goodbye. Good afternoon.
What is the Mystic Light application? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a new one to me.
MSI Mystic.
Okay,
Light.
Sam, you'll have to go a bit more on that.
MSI as in motherboards.
that-
Probably.
Maybe a
I
video
don't.
game.
I don't know. I wonder what that is. Oh, wait a minute.
Conspiracy theory?
No, I was doing some reading about that MS 2.0 socket on motherboards. I didn't know anything about it, and I'm wondering, do I recall them talking about some kind of optoelectric effect or purposes or plugins for that system? I
And
don't
Spooky
recall.
Bed here just came in.
Oh, she missed the LED porn. Maybe I'll put it back up for her. Let me pull it out here first.
Yeah, and we lost Stool somehow.
He must have got busy with something.
Yeah,
with
it
Queen
happens.
Elizabeth?
It drops out
Stopped by
randomly
and-
at times.
She stopped by, and he had to do his his due diligence with the Queen.
Oh boy.
I don't know. Somewhere in there needs to be a joke about his sexy ladder, but I'm just not putting it together right now.
That's okay.
Okay,
He's
what
got quite a sense of humor.
What other obscure stuff does the chat want us to talk about now?
Okay, here's
See
the
if they can stump us.
Well, since the Brit's gone, it's safe for me to talk about iced tea.
This is for you, Spooky Bed here. This is what you missed earlier. LED porn.
Yeah, now anytime I make iced tea, it's referred to as poking the badger, because I talked about one time when Bad Tempered Badger was in the stream and he lost it.
How many volt is the Queen?
People have a natural resistance. You can hold an ohm meter in your two hands and measure your personal resistance,
Yeah.
or to points
Yeah.
on your tongue or something like that.
Scientology has the E-meter, but that's basically a modified lie detector.
Yep.
Oh,
Originally,
yeah.
it was a normal lie detector, and then people they realized people know how to fool lie detectors, and so they made a change to it. After I think it was Reader's Digest had a series of articles that exposed all that, and so then they modified it so it doesn't work the same as lie detector test anymore.
Well,
But
I've always
but
wondered
still-
about the lie detector anyway, because more than anything, it really measures if somebody's nervous.
It measures perspiration
Yeah.
and some other things.
galvanic skin response is all it is.
Yeah.
It depends on a person getting sweaty if they're nervous.
Okay, is that all? Because I thought it also, measured like the electrical impulses for muscle movement.
Well, they put a strap around to measure your respirations, and they are monitoring your actual heart rate, because those are also factors in when people lie and stuff. But I think the primary is the galvanic skin response. I don't know that. I'm certainly not a lie detector expert.
I think, the lie detectors, they try to figure out what is normal behavior by asking questions that they get truthful answers from. And then they try to detect abnormalities. And there's quite a science to it all. And the problem is that there can be a lot of different reasons why people are not divulging the truth or why they are reacting a certain way. There can be emotional memories that come up and cause reactions as well. Mm-hmm. That'll make it look like they're lying. So that's why these things aren't reliable indicators of people being truthful or lying.
Should we teach people how to beat it?
Yes, I think so.
To beat
Because
the
then that way-
polygraph, you
Yeah,
take
definitely.
a
Polygraph, that's
thumbtack.
true. Yeah.
You take a thumbtack and put it in your shoe and step on it when they're trying to get your base level. The pain response from stepping on a thumbtack should be enough to bias the machine that when you're in a stressful period, it sees it as normal. Okay, of course, the operator has to not know that you've got a thumbtack in your shoe and you're giving yourself a pain response. But all you're doing is biasing the machine or the reader, the interpreter of the machine's impression of what is stress for you and what is not.
Yeah, and of course you want to be doing that while you're answering the innocent questions, and they're trying to establish the baseline too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, randomly. Yeah, inconsistently. Yeah, it's not a good solution. You know, it's similar to in the police lineup problem, where they'll show 5 people in the lineup, and the witness will try to choose the one who looks closest to the assailant rather than doing the exact match thing. And that's resulted in some wrongful convictions as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Spooky Bedhair says she knows a bit about LEDs. Should get her on to talk what she knows.
Come on down.
Come on in, Spooky Bedhair. Hey,
Yeah,
Neil's,
Spooky, do you need a link?
Neil's here.
I posted it in a couple of the groups.
Yeah, Neil, you were just we're just talking about you and I working on the True North Talk studio. Did Neil see the LED porn?
Well, Nafi just came in.
That's okay. Let's put it on the screen for him then. I gotta find some more pictures to add to that.
Get it? LED porn?
There you go. Wow. Now that's bright. That was a bright response.
This is a killer little flashlight. It runs on 3 AAAs. It's not the SMD stuff. Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah, the LED flashlights are really pretty impressive with how bright they can get and how long they can run on a battery.
This sucker is only $8. It's solid aluminum. I've dropped it. I've kicked it. I've dumped it in water, all kinds of stuff, and it keeps working. And it's from Harbor Freight for $8. And this thing is one of the best I've ever owned, including all the mag lights I used to own.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of little LED flashlights.
My apologies to Spooky Bedhair. I said she for some reason. For some reason, I always thought Spooky Bedhair was a she. I apologize. Him. Come on to the show and tell us about LEDs.
Although, if you want to be a girl, you can just be a girl. It's okay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, I've got the meme to share on that one. I'll bring it right up in a sec here. This one's a good one.
You get to make your nails
Spooky,
nice and pretty.
I just sent you a DM on Twitter, Spooky, if you want to come in.
Yeah, it'll be great. All right. Oh yeah, here's the meme. Found it. Jenny, this meme here will address exactly what you just said. As soon as purple rhymes with orange. So there we go. Iggy Pop is saying...
Oh, Iggy Pop, yeah. I've seen that one.
He's saying, I'm not ashamed to dress like a woman because I don't think it's shameful to be a woman.
Yeah, and that's something I never got is, it's largely a fetish thing to make a man dress like a woman to embarrass him. And it's like, yeah, I did not find that embarrassing.
Yeah, people have different expectations about their own life and different preferences and whatnot. So it may bother some people and not bother others. I don't see a problem with it. I don't have any interest in doing it myself, but I don't see a problem with it.
Oh, and Godless Scummer is here.
You'd look cute in a jumper.
Yeah, I'm going to be on his show soon. I just confirming scheduling, and I'll be back to him shortly on that. But
Jeff's here?
Very likely going to happen. Yeah.
And
looking,
Faye, hello.
Wonder Lady?
Godless
Yep.
Scummers referring to the Scottish, the kilt.
Yeah. The kilt has a funny history.
When is a
Funny.
when is a kilt not a skirt? Never. It's just a question of what you're going to call it. That's all.
Yep. Well, you know, and it's like some of the Scots will claim that the colors and that like go back to their ancestry 1,000 years, and no, actually they didn't start wearing kilts until the 1800s, and
Oh, really?
it was because of the owner of the textile mills was so cheap that he didn't pay his employees enough to buy pants. So he came up with a cheaper alternative to pants so that his employees could afford them.
That's interesting. 1800s, you say?
Yeah.
We can check on
Again, I
this.
don't have the citation.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if men should wear skirts, but what I can tell men from my experience at it that is they're awfully comfortable, especially in the summer. Winter is a different story, but in the summer they're pretty nice.
Actually, where I was living in Michigan, I had to actually drive across the state line to Wisconsin just to get to a Walmart. But one of the guys who was the regular door checker there wore a kilt most days.
At a Walmart?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and especially up there, that was awfully progressive for that area, that he didn't, seem to get too much crap for it.
That is quite surprising.
Okay. Faye is saying it was the 16th century, and yeah, it's been a while since I've read up on it, so I will assume that she knows it better than I do at this point.
Faye is here.
I've
Hello,
learned
Wonder Lady.
it pretty much makes a lot of sense to not question Faye. She's pretty smart.
She's always a delight. Yeah.
Although sometimes I like to pull her chain and disagree with her just for the hell of it.
Oh, she must love you for that.
I don't think she's ever known I did it until I just said that.
Oh, she's going to be reviewing everything you've written now. You're going to be in trouble. She's welcome to join us too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I left the link in a number of Twitter groups, so she probably saw it, but whoop.
Oh boy, America's Test Kitchen is on.
Oh, Sloth Girl loves that show.
Oh, it's the best cooking show on the market, I think.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, but
They do seem to be better, about the reviews. As far as it seems more like honest reviews rather than product sponsorship that you get with most shows.
Mm-hmm. Well, they seem to really be interested in actually educating you. I love it when they go into the science of why certain cooking reactions happen, and stuff. That's very enlightening.
Yeah, like I said, I've been up there and I've kind of watched it with Sloth Girl, but cooking shows just aren't my thing. I never paid too much attention to it, except when they got into things about actually reviewing different knives and trying to point out what qualities make a good knife. That's one of the things I kind of on my wish list further down. I need to get a better set of kitchen knives. The ones I have are pretty cheap and don't hold the edge very well.
They're pouring this green pasty stuff over some chicken. Does not look tasty. It's, I mean, it's just cilantro and stuff, but
Yeah, I'm apparently one of those people who can't eat cilantro. That
yeah,
I only found out a couple of months ago that soapy taste is something that a lot of people get from the cilantro.
yeah, it's a genetic thing.
Yeah, now see, whenever we got the rice from Chipotle, I kept blaming it on thinking that they hadn't really washed the utensils properly, that there was a soap residue that I was always tasting and she wasn't.
Yep, no, it's genetic. I'm a soap weed person. I don't like it either. Although I've had people try to describe to me what it is to them who like it, and it sounds like it'd be really nice if that's what I actually tasted. But it's soap to me. But I like parsley better anyways.
Hello, Faye.
Hello.
Hello, Faye.
Parsley is better.
I like parsley.
Parsley's great.
Yep.
I'm usually the only person who will eat it when it's on dishes when we go out for food or whatever.
Okay, and
Hi,
Neil
Neil.
found the one I was referring to about it being 18th century.
Well, it is, but at the same time, tartan did exist, and that's much older. But they're like, it's a familiar pattern, but like kilts and plaid kilts are it's more modern. But yet there is an tartan from antiquity. It's hard to explain. Like they mention it places, and they also have found mummies in it, but it wasn't worn the way we associate it with.
Oh, so you're talking, Faye, about the actual pattern and colors of the plaid type layout of the fabric.
But the 16th century kilt was also like, it was kind of like it's similar to the modern kilt, but it was not a kilt because you could also wear it as a cloak draped over your shoulders.
Oh, see now that I've seen that there's some real complex um, steps or system that you have to use to actually wear the damn thing.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I have seen that quite often with bagpipers about having it draped over the shoulder.
And then they have the ones from the 16th century, but it eventually changed into what we know it. But it's like, it's got an interesting history, but it's weird. It's more modern than people realize.
Yeah.
So you're right though when people are like, oh, it's from antiquity. No, it's really not. So.
And as far as loving the bagpipes, it has been my experience that with the bagpipes, someone is either a master or absolute shit, and there is nothing in between.
You got that right. We used to have bagpipes all the time at my college because they had a wedding chapel there. And if you're alumna, you can get married there.
Yep.
And they'd always have the bagpipes going.
Well, I used to march in the Minneapolis Pagan Pride, in the Minneapolis Gay Pride Parade with the pagans. And we had a guy there who would march playing the bagpipes, and yeah, he was just amazing. And one time in particular, there were the hecklers on the sidelines, and he just stood right in front of them and played the most beautiful rendition of Amazing Grace.
Oh, interesting. I've heard Amazing Grace on the bagpipes only once, and my piper was shit. So, but I did enjoy the attempt.
Back in the early days of MP3s and iTunes and stuff like that, I wanted a recording of Amazing Grace. And so I started looking for it on iTunes and different places. And I found, and I'm sure there's a lot more than what I found like 53 different recordings or covers of Amazing Grace. It seems like almost every artist on the planet does at least one recording of it.
Yeah. In Minneapolis, one of the private colleges has a strong Scottish history, and even their sports team is the Highlanders.
McAllister?
Yeah. Thank you. I was having trouble coming up with the name. Yeah, so, that was living in Minneapolis. It was a pretty common thing to find people with bagpipes, even just on the streets.
There's a bagpipe club or whatever group in La Crosse. I know that. And they practice every Thursday or something like that. You can go nearby and listen to them if you are into it. I'm not into it.
I always wondered how you got a town named after an obscure sport.
It was a Native American sport played by the Native Americans of this area.
Okay. And again, I wasn't really aware it had that kind of history.
Oh yeah, it goes way back. In fact, one of the I don't know, points of interest, symbols of the city. There's this gigantic statue of Native Americans who are involved in a rather raucous lacrosse move. It's really a very excellent statue. Just a lot of detail and power in it. You can really feel it. And it's kind of like one of the first things you see when you come in town.
Yeah, I know I've driven through there. I don't really know much about the town.
I don't either, but I learned some stuff that actually has been rather surprising. Now, I hope I don't get this wrong. One of the first, if not the first, American, African American who won a gold medal in the Olympics came from La Crosse. Was a La Crosse resident when he won and stuff, which is really interesting because the African American population in this area is like, I won't say it's near zero, but it's very small compared to when I was in Milwaukee and places like that. I don't know if there's any black people at all in the town I live in. I haven't seen anyone yet. But what else?
The town I lived in Michigan, there were 6 black people and 4 Asians.
La Crosse is the home for train heating and cooling stuff. What other interesting things did I find out? I'm forgetting.
Geo Sam wants to come in, so I've got to get him a link.
I'm going to put up a link about tartan. So.
Okay, there you go, Sam. I sent you a link in Twitter.
And tartan is the generic name for all the plaid designs, because I know there apparently different clans had different patterns to their plaid.
I think it's the weaving style. I'm not talking about the pattern as much as the weaving style. At least that's what I've been led to believe. So.
Hey, Sam.
But yeah, it does look like plaid, but it's not what people think it is.
Mm.
But this is like stuff that's been found on mummies. Hello.
Hi. Just wanted to stop by and say hi.
I'm glad.
Hi.
I'll have to check Hans's link there later on.
I'll give you a link, just in case you ever want to have something on ancient textiles.
And I had missed this, that Randolph had put this link in the private chat earlier, so I figured this had to exist somewhere.
Yeah, it's a link to somebody writing about kilts with LED add-ons.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Well, and I was thinking of that at some point somebody had to incorporate them into a kilt design.
Oh, come on, Neil. God wants you. You got to do that for God.
But
Jeebus will love you if you do that.
Well, you could sing the Gilligan's Island theme while playing Amazing Grace. That does work.
Does it really?
really,
They do match up pretty well.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I can't put
Amazing
it
Grace.
together.
I put some pictures up here. Purple Rhymes with Orange.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a cat in a kilt.
I've had to sing Amazing Grace at weddings. It wasn't fun.
There's another cat in a kilt.
Done it in 30 years.
Small fish are better than they fish.
Okay.
And there's a kitten in the accessory of a kilt.
See, now doesn't that bag doesn't it have some kind of significance, cultural significance, or different way it's built or decorated, or for different clans and stuff also?
I have no idea.
I've heard that.
I
should-
don't believe that, but that's just me.
I should know this because of my Scottish heritage, but I don't.
You have to ask a local.
Yeah, I'm not a local.
I'm not a local. And I'm not going to pretend I know things I don't.
Yeah.
Why does everybody always think the most important question to ask somebody wearing a kilt is what kind of underwear they're wearing?
Because they're not wearing underwear.
How do you know?
Have you checked?
Well, that's supposed to be the traditional way, yes.
Because when the queen's walking by and the wind's blowing, sometimes you get lots of pictures of men's bums.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's like a whole fanny flash. It's like, oh, it's buttocks everywhere.
so there's a little crack in the mythology, huh?
Oh,
Well, that's what the weighted bag is up front, to keep it down in case the wind blows.
Oh, thought of that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
weighted. It's there in case the wind blows. To hide the,
Yeah, but do you really want to have that junk hanging out and proud and when you're
I
like
don't
in
care.
war and
I
battle and
think
stuff like that?
everyone should wear skirts, because I think trousers are a bad idea for humans, because things get damp. Maybe in the winter it's fine, but things get damp. Things need to be aired out. You don't want anyone getting jock itch or whatever. Just wear your skirts. You'll feel better. Everyone should wear robes and skirts and dresses. That's the way I feel, and I'm standing by it.
Infection of the perineum can be deadly.
Definitely, like any.
Well, that bag is called. I looked it up. It's on Wikipedia.
It's the kitten holder.
Yeah.
See, it's a kitten holder.
I like kitten holder. That's perfect.
Oh, it's
Okay,
it's
and since we're on kilts and bagpipes, I have to share this little video clip. It's less than a minute here.
it's a pussy bag.
Robert, you're very sweet.
Keep Portland weird.
Oh,
Bag
is that
holder
This is-
where the guy's
this
from? I've
week has
seen that
been a-
before.
Am I the only one who thinks that this week has been a roller coaster?
Yeah, it's been a real 2020 kind of week.
Yeah, this guy is a street performer that just shows up randomly all over Portland.
Really?
Yeah,
He's got talent.
This is wonderful.
Yeah.
He's got talent.
I think the flames might be overkill, but I appreciate the effort.
Oh,
It
jeez,
makes
that's
him
wonderful.
memorable.
I like the Darth Vader helmet most of all, though.
Yeah, well, and that's part of the thing, but his identity is pretty much secret. That people have tried to make guesses at who he is, but no one's really sure.
Interesting.
Does he get paid? That's what I want to know.
No, he's just a random street performer.
Some of them get paid.
Yeah, well, I know oftentimes they have some kind of container out for people to give them tips or that. I don't know if he does that.
Oh, is the word busking? Is that the word I'm thinking of?
A street performer playing? Yes, busking.
Busking? Yeah. Okay.
I'm not familiar with that term.
Yep.
I thought about doing it, but I wasn't sure if I needed a license. Because if you...
Depends where you are.
Yeah.
I think in New Jersey you need a license.
Yeah.
Need one in Canada.
Someplace they make it illegal to take care of homeless people and stuff. It's, oh,
They call it-
you got guy a sandwich. You're under arrest.
They call it solicitations.
Oh, Robert's
Which
mixing.
also has a double thing.
Robert's mixing some Spanish in that message to you there.
I think that's very sweet.
No one's got his neighbor.
Yep.
No, there's I don't know. I get distracted because when I look up things like ancient textiles or whatever about things like plaid or things about wool, because people's clothing used to kill them because a lot of things were made out of wool and you could get a special lice from that, and the lice would bite the person and the lice would make them very ill and then they'd die. So you could die from your clothing and they didn't wash it, so and then someone else picks up your clothing and puts it on.
Wonder Lady.
The fuck is that?
Wonder Lady. Now, you were saying trousers are a problem. Do you think Darth Vader here needs a skirt?
I think that's kind of hot, so I'm just gonna leave that alone.
Are you into latex?
I think that's really hot. And that's another thing. I think, well, I can't wear heels anymore, so I'm very jealous. But my brother-in-law wears heels, and when he wears heels, he looks hot. Yep.
Heels are great, aren't they?
Red patent leathers.
Oh
They're
yeah.
so hot.
I've
Definitely
never
has the legs for it too. But yeah, that Darth Vader's looking pretty hot there. I like that.
I'll on that happy note.
I
I'll
prefer
be right back.
I prefer the dresses. But with those shoes, meow. But I also like Noel Fielding, and he'll sometimes wear a robe with these big clunky, heeled boots. I don't know if you know Noel Fielding, but he's really funny and kind of surreal and very artsy, and I love him.
The only heels I wear are cowboy boots. They have big, thick heels in them, but they're not tall like these ones.
I can't do it anymore because of my toe. But
Yeah, you're telling me about that. That's awful.
yeah. Usually when I talk about it, people are like, no, don't give me descriptors.
I'm out of practice. I haven't really worn heels since my fiance died, so I have to kind of learn to walk in them again.
Who needs to walk in them? Just put them on and drape your legs seductively over the furniture.
Is it hard to learn to walk in them?
It's a challenge, yeah.
It takes some practice, and also women walk differently than men, because especially in heels, women tend to walk, one foot directly in front of the other.
Like cats, almost.
The only way that you really get good at it is if you start practicing doing cartwheels in them.
I could never do
That's how I
cartwheels.
learned.
I can't even do cartwheels barefoot, so.
I had a wedding to go to, and I had 3-inch heels.
I have to
So I do
go.
cartwheels.
Okay, Sam. It was good to see you. Sorry we didn't get the chance too much.
Okay.
Did
Well,
I
thanks
talk
for
too much?
popping in.
I'm sorry, Sam.
That's
Good
okay.
to see you, Sam.
I have,
Bye-bye.
Come back.
I have to see my new cardiologist today.
Oh, no.
By the way, thanks for helping Purple Rhymes with Orange out there with getting the case for the
Oh,
computer.
yeah.
That was very nice of you.
Let
Yeah.
us know how you're doing, okay?
I love helping out.
Well, like I say, the help is very much appreciated. I'm not desperate for it. I could probably pay it off in a year or so, but the help is certainly appreciated.
Well,
I hope it'll be.
that's the first thing is a case, right? That's
Right.
without
Yep.
the case.
And Julie from Wine and Reason has sent me a power supply.
Awesome.
Great.
I remember you mentioned that earlier, I think.
Yep. So I've got that on my shelf here.
Terrific.
Hopefully your cardiologist will give you a clean bill of health.
Yeah, let us know, will you?
Well, yeah, it's a new doctor, so it's just kind of like a meet and greet right now. Because my former doctor has retired, so.
Is it online or do you have to go into their office?
No, I have to go and travel to the office. I have to wear, the whole mask and stuff. That,
Okay.
Naturally.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I'll be okay.
Okay, so it's nothing serious right now. Just
No.
Well,
just
good
trying to
luck
prevent
and
things.
stay safe.
Exactly.
Of course.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, you guys have a good day, and I'll see you around the web.
Okay, we'll see you later. Thanks.
Come
Bye-bye.
back if you can. Okay.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I was into the clinic yesterday to get the annual flu shot.
Oh, such a good idea. You don't want COVID and the flu.
Yep.
Oh yeah, more is not better in that case.
Yeah. Well,
I hate going to see my cardiologist. I don't envy him at all.
My governor made another one of those public announcements today. He does that pretty regularly, but he's like, well, as you know, when the winter comes, COVID's gonna get worse, and we're just sitting there like, didn't enough New Yorkers die from this crap? But we're having flare-ups in New York City. So.
And Trump says it's a hoax.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Trump is going to
he's
continue
immune to
saying
it
it's a
now.
hoax. Yeah. Trump is
Even though
going to continue saying it's a hoax, and it's like I was saying from the beginning, and now it looks like it's going to happen. That's going to wind up being a member of his family, who's going to be on the ventilator, if not die from it.
Wouldn't be surprised if we lose some White House cabinet people at this rate.
Yeah.
They
Staff
came
in
out
the
with
White
another
House is
3 or
really
4 people
scared.
today.
Yep.
Another 3 or 4 people today who are infected.
Really?
Okay.
Yep.
Who? I'm such a gargoyle.
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to the names.
From last night, they had already identified at least 19 people that Trump had infected from, being either in the White House or from the fundraiser he did just before the debate.
Oh, the last I heard, it was up to 37.
Okay,
Oh, really?
maybe what I saw last night wasn't a current count even at that time.
Yeah, because and they went through who, and some of them are anonymous, but they work in the either the press secretary's office or whatever. It's like everyone there is sick, and everyone here is sick. It's funny that none of his children are sick, but they said that Trump had been tested regularly instead of daily. So are their tests regular? Are they getting tested weekly, or they only getting tested once because it took who's the one that looks like the vampire?
All these people be tested. They got
Eric.
They all get it, or
No, Stephen Miller.
Well, and the other thing I've
Stephen
wondered
Miller,
about,
yeah, he's the Nazi.
that we know that it can be spread before a person's showing any symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What did I miss?
Look on the screen.
Ouch.
Oh my goodness! I love, can you send that to me?
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay, thank you.
Put it
Will
up on
do.
Twitter too. I want to get that.
Please
Yeah.
send that to me.
I will. I'll post it. Yeah, no problem.
I just wonder, with the COVID testing, at what point does the test get a positive result? And
Well,
is there the potential for somebody to be carrying it a couple of days and still get a negative result?
Oh yeah, that they always talk about false negatives, as well as false positives. But they tested Stephen Miller 5 days in a row, and on the 5th day he tested positive. And his household already went through the COVID scare in the spring because his wife had it.
Is Stephen Miller in this picture?
Probably.
I think so. He's the one that looks like I forget which Nazi it was, but he kind of looks like a Nazi vampire.
No, not Gables. The
I'll
guy
look it
before him looked like Gables.
Stephen Miller looks like. Find out. He's so creepy looking.
Yeah.
Now he's one of the people who I really would not care one way or the other if he dies.
Mhm.
He's such an evil-minded person. Just he exudes evil from his heart. He's just not nice.
Oh, he's terrible. Oh, I can't find
I'm
his-
trying real hard not to wish any of the right wing who gets this wishing them dead, because that's just not right.
It's
But-
not right, but at the same time, they have such a reckless disregard for anyone else's safety.
Well, and I guess I'm trying to listen to Michelle and trying to take the higher road.
Yeah,
Well,
you
you're
got to
a
try
better
to be better
person
than that.
I am.
Yeah.
Because the way I look at it is like, well, they're in a position of being very well informed, right? So if they won't even protect themselves as an excuse to why they don't want to protect us, well, who am I to judge them for bungee jumping and snapping their spinal cord or ripping off their man boobs? Because you can tear breast tissue bungee jumping. So as far as I'm concerned, Trump's whole stomach would fall off if he wasn't wearing a compression shirt or several compression shirts.
Yeah.
I'm being petty.
or a Playtex 18-hour.
Yeah, unfortunately, Trump and a lot of the governors and senators who want to minimize the COVID thing, is because they see their stock portfolios suffering. So they want everybody, they want the economy to get back to what it was. And it's like, it's like the attitude of the nobles during the plague who thought they could lock themselves up in their castles and they'd be safe.
They're still trying to pass off to the public that if the Dow Jones is doing good, that means the economy's good. And that's such bullshit.
Yeah, and after Trump made his appearance yesterday, the Dow Jones lost 600 points.
Yeah, because the Dow Jones thought, the stock people thought, we're going to get a stimulus package, people will buy things. And then Trump said, no, not until after the election. And they went, sell stocks again.
Yep. And that's the thing that a lot of people say they voted for Trump in the first place because he wasn't a politician, he was a businessman. But he obviously doesn't understand how the economy works.
He doesn't understand how business works either. He goes bankrupt all the time.
He's totally
Could have
poor.
say actually his business record is
Hi,
not
Jeff.
very
I didn't see
good.
you come in.
No.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of business
But in a
people
couple
don't
of-
understand economy. They just understand their own business. But he doesn't seem. So I don't fault him for that. But he's really should get up to speed on those things, given the position he's got. It's
He's
like
had to declare bankruptcy 6 times.
Yeah.
he bankrupted some casinos.
Yep.
Oh, I
Well,
know, because
Casinos are ridiculously.
How does a casino lose
successful.
money?
I mean,
he
a
didn't
business
even
report-
pay.
I know how they
He
lose
didn't
it.
even pay the architect.
You know
he
how they
didn't
lose.
even pay the architect.
Yeah.
From the very get-go, he was saying, "I don't have the money," and he didn't pay the architect. Instead, he built it, He said to the architect, "I don't have the money," and then he's like, "I'm bankrupt," and so that architect never got paid.
You know how casinos lose money? Embezzlement.
Mhm.
I'll just
Mm.
leave that there.
Yeah.
That's one way.
Well, and the thing
And
about being a good
he's had more than-
president isn't necessarily about electing someone who knows everything.
No,
A
of course.
good president is someone who just surrounds himself with people who are knowledgeable in their particular fields.
And delegates accordingly.
Yeah.
But he's such a I don't have a good word.
Egotistical, pusillanimous. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, those are all fine words. But because it's Trump, we should get the best and the hugest.
That's what I'm sick of most is this guy who just stands up there and proclaims wildly that he's the smartest and best at everything he's ever touched or done or thought.
Yep.
And he is so clearly on the bottom rung of almost everything.
And Faye's right. We need the biggest word to describe him.
Yeah, we need the biggest, hugest, bestest.
Biggest.
Magnificent, perfect word. We need the perfect word.
I still think one of my favorite tweets from him ever was, I don't know what it was. He was pissy with Apple about something, and he was putting out there people should boycott Apple, not buy their products. And underneath it said tweeted from iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed that. I didn't see that.
You should see
I'm
what
kind
Trump's
of
clock looks like.
disappointed now. His what?
His clock.
Good.
Right twice a day.
No. This is Trump's clock.
Oh, little hands.
You got it.
Oh,
I knew you'd figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think it right away either.
so cute. Figure he's not cute. I don't have anything. Like the most petty, awful things come out of my mouth because I hate him so much. Oh my! I'll say the most disgusting things I would never say about anyone else. They're coming out when I think of him.
Well, somebody in a position with that much power who doesn't feel any responsibility to take care of others.
Unless it goes well.
Well, no, for him, it's all a calculation about, is he going to make a profit off of this?
Well, you heard his spokeswoman the other day. They're like, under the Trump administration, all the best medications have come out to help. So, like, no, the Trump administration didn't make those drugs. They didn't make those drugs.
Take credit. Well, that's the thing. I mean, they'll all do it to a certain extent, but he's really bad for just like trying to take credit for things he's had nothing to do with.
Yeah. Well, and even with him catching the COVID, he's going to make a big deal about how quick he got over it. It's like, but most of us can't be airlifted to a world-class, medical facility as soon as we show the first symptom.
If I have the world's most magnificent, splendiferous shit while he's president, it doesn't mean it's because he was president and therefore it meant I ate something. It meant I ate, well, you know that cereal called Poop Like a Champion? It's expensive, but it's called Poop Like a Champion. So if you ever feel like a clean out, it's 16 grams of fiber per bowl.
Colon blow.
And you're not going to need toilet paper afterwards because you're going to poop like a champion. Now, if I eat that cereal and I have a splendiferous evacuation, it's not him. It has nothing to do with him.
No, but you've created a new him.
or somebody like him. Another member of his family. Oh, look, a little trumpet. That's how they come into the world, right?
I don't know if you really need to go through that much effort for it, though, because doesn't just watching his speeches usually make you shit yourself?
Yeah, but then it's like wet and splattery. It's not the beautiful, perfect poop. I'm being disgusting. I'm sorry.
How do you think the debate tonight is going to go?
I don't. Is there a debate?
Yeah, Kamala and Pence.
Oh, yeah, the vice presidential.
I think I think Kamala's going to win that one. Would be my guess, but
Well,
that first one with Trump and Biden, I thought was awful. I just thought it was an awful debate.
It was absolutely embarrassing.
I'm sure Pence will prepare by enforcing his Jesus armor before the debate, so he'll be fine.
He'll play on that. See, this is I mean, in a way, it's like you really wanted to take cheap shots at them when they get onto anything regarding science or whatever. Like, hold on, you got your vice president here who thinks the Earth is 6,000 years old.
I know he said so on the Senate floor as he was arguing against evolution before he became vice president. It's all on YouTube. It's all on YouTube. You can find out just what a crazy person.
Yeah.
I stopped watching those videos because I get too mad. I broke a tooth watching those videos. I cracked it right now.
Gritting your teeth too much?
Yeah, I was really like clenching. Not because I was pooping, but because I was mad.
Well, I don't watch him directly. I'll wait for the analysis after. I'm not going to sit through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
They were mentioning on the Today Show the other day that dentists are reporting an increase in business, particularly with broken teeth, because people are gritting their teeth so badly now.
I saw something about that, about a lot more people with cracked and broken teeth.
Oh,
I have to drop my good quality sound here so I can charge my phone. But I'm still here. It's just not going to be as good quality.
Okay, no problem.
So the makers of Poop Like a Champion, it's not merely cereal, it's a colon cleanse. Please sponsor my friend Purple.
This broadcast brought to you by diarrhea.
Well, do you remember the fake advertisement they had on Saturday Night Live for colon blow?
No, I should look that up. Was it good?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Oh, and in addition to my regular show tomorrow at midnight, tomorrow at now I can't remember it. I think it's 5 p.m. Central Time. Hopswatch has asked me to be on his show.
Oh, cool.
So basically going to start off discussing what we're drinking and kind of go on from whatever topics there, but probably some current event things. And then Sunday is National Coming Out Day. So Sunday at 2 p.m., I'm going to be doing a special edition broadcast and going to have a couple of people coming to, share their stories about coming out, mostly LGBT things, but also some about coming out as being non-religious.
That's pretty cool.
I was thinking of coming out on Sunday, but I haven't decided yet.
Colon cleaner.
Well, we'd like to have you there if you want to share a story.
There's an old advertising for celery as a colon cleaner. Did you know that?
Yeah, I have that in my meme collection, actually. Do you want to see it?
I know what it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, show everyone.
Well, and the modern equivalent is known as Jilly Juice, because that's about the only thing it's good for.
No, this is actually
prison?
shoving a
That's,
celery stick up your ass.
Oh.
That sounds
Which-
uncomfortable.
Which, to be fair though, is better for you than Jilly Juice.
Yeah, eat your celery so as
Yeah,
it
I
comes
don't think
out,
you
it
should
can
be
push
shoving
out the
any
bits.
vegetables up there.
Here you go.
No,
They're designed to
eat them
come out
first.
of there, not up.
This is the picture Faye's talking about.
It's adorable. It's a piece of celery.
Oh,
With a
yes, I did
toothbrush
see
up
someone
the end.
post this.
Oh.
It was probably me like a year ago.
Bones, are they in the right place?
He's got a
I don't
toothbrush.
care. It's adorable. It's a great thing.
Oh God.
Look at that happy expression. I mean, come on. You want to be
Oh,
happy when you
Scammers.
poop. Eat celery.
Nature's toothbrush for your colon.
Yeah, if you've got teeth down there, you've got other problems.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, then you're a millionaire because you can like make money with that shit. Literally.
My
Yeah,
most
Pornhub
favorite,
will take you.
my most favorite advertisement or parody advertisement was one that I saw in National Lampoon back in the 70s for Sparties, the once-a-week baby diaper.
Oh no, what?
God, I remember that.
Sparties, the once-a-week
Yep.
baby diaper. And if you look it up on Google, you'll find it, and you could share it.
Oh, I'm looking at it right now. I'm gonna look at it right now. Sparties.
Remember, you will never be able to unsee it. I'm warning you.
Well, I will never reproduce, so I'm past my expiration date. This chicken doesn't lay eggs anymore. Oh, I can't find it.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Sparties.
Yeah.
I'll put National Lampoon in there too.
I'm going to because I got all this stuff of like, is there blood in your baby's diaper?
What?
That's
No.
what I found.
Yeah, no, it had nothing like that in it.
That's
Oh,
a
I
call to
love
emergency.
this.
That's usually a call to emergency.
Oh, you found it?
Oh, I love this.
The expression on the kid's face.
If you're like most mothers who just can't find the time or the stomach to change baby, but refuse to put up with the constant crying, you'll want new Sparties, the 5-day live-in diaper suit. Sparties are made from inexpensive miracle fabrics that take all the mess and bother and free you to do the things that you like. And then the little Sparty is filled up, just simply untie the drawstring. Ew. Lift baby out by the neck. And toss the old Sparty in the trash. Then after you've hosed down baby, baby is ready for a new Sparty. And then
Ugh.
you're ready for another week of carefree living. Sparties, it's in the bag.
You got to
So
share the image.
sick.
I've actually just looked that up online. That's quite funny.
I enjoy that too much. Thank you for letting me read that.
I'm glad you liked it.
I'm going to send that out.
That was in it might have been in other issues too, but it was definitely in the one issue they had back then that was oh God, what was the title of it? It was their
You remember
greatest
the title of it?
The series. It was their greatest parody ads is what it was. I don't remember the title anymore. But there were all kinds of them. Like you've heard the one of shoot this dog.
No.
That was in there. Yeah,
No.
they're holding a gun to the head of a border collie.
I
You subscribe. If you also
I
call
remember.
it his dog or something like that.
I always remember it was an old banned British TV commercial that I'm sure they do these occasionally just to amuse themselves, knowing it's not going to go past the get past the advertising censors. But there was one with a guy sat on the toilet on his mobile phone, like real flash, being real flash and whatever, and just talk, like he was talking quite like I can't remember what it was, but he was talking like really like shitty about women or something like that, and and then like just like one of those typical like then hang the phone, go like ciao, and and then the tagline was Kleenex extra soft toilet tissue as recommended by arseholes everywhere.
Oh wow!
Oh, I love that.
I found some good products on Amazon today, if you care.
Sorry, what was that about products on Amazon?
It's like a chicken diaper, but it's a harness, and it's like a big. It's a bag that attaches to the harness right at the asshole
Oh,
level. So when you walk your chicken on the harness, the bag fills up with poop.
okay.
hmm I thought maybe it's more impressive than it sounds, but
No, my sister keeps chickens. I can envision it.
I'll send Richard the picture. Maybe Richard, because yeah, I thought it was funny.
Well, between Mad Magazine and National Lampoon, my generation didn't have a chance to grow up normal.
Yeah. My brother used to get Mad Magazine all the time, so.
Did you ever hear their It's a Gas record? In one issue, they actually sent a 45 RPM record out. Was made out of paper, but it still had the plastic and pressing on it. You could actually put it in your record player and play it. And it was called It's a Gas. And it was just a bunch of music, and periodically somebody would come out and belch real loud. It was stupid. I mean, it was absolutely stupid, childish humor. But when you're in 6th grade and you're hearing this stuff, it was a riot. It was great.
Mad Magazine was fantastic.
Yeah,
I waited until clam strip night at the cafeteria at college, and I had a recorder to record classes with. Instead, I was in the bathroom and I just recorded people like having the splatters and toilet flushes. And I used that as my answering machine tape.
This is starting to sound like South Park references to me.
Well, I didn't want people calling me so much, so I made it as gross as possible.
Yeah, that's right up there.
It was like, hi, this is for you. And then...
Well, gee, for some strange reason, we've suddenly lost all of our audience. I don't think there's anybody left here but us and Amiga Nuts.
Oh,
I was going to say,
it's my fault. I'm sorry, Purple.
It's Faye's fault.
No. It started falling off before that. It was a funny correlation, that's all.
Oh, I'm so sorry, though.
No, I think it was more that we went over the 2-hour mark, so I think a lot of people left at the beginning of the hour.
Or they're going home, or they've got to eat.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. They had other things to do, so.
We're almost 2 hours and 22 minutes here. 2:18 anyway.
Yep.
I had a telemarketer call me. They call me all the time, and I give them a rough time if they lie to me about it being a telemarketing call. So I always give them a fair chance first. I say, is this a telemarketing call? And if they say yes, then I just, okay, well, save your time, appreciate your honesty. I'm not going to be a sale for you today, and that's the end of it. But if they say no, okay, then I have fun with them. And because I think that's fair game with them. And this one guy got so angry at me after about 15 minutes of realizing that I was just asking him questions to waste his time. He then said he's going to come and rape my wife and kids, and then he's going to kill me and them. So, of course, I did the star 57 to trace the call, called up our police here, and they contacted him, and they basically just gave him a warning. He's in the U.S., so they coordinated with the U.S. authorities as well, and so that guy was very apologetic and everything, and so the officer basically asked what I want to do. I said, well, if you think he got the message, then I think that'll be good enough. He said, yeah, I think he got the message. He was pretty scared that the police were calling him.
Best troll I've ever done on a telemarketing call is it just so happened that I was on my computer at the time, and so I had YouTube kind of handy. So to get on there, first thing I do is I quickly type in some 10-hour loop of music or what kind of like that sort of stuff. So yeah, just give us a second, and started playing that, and then periodically I go, you're held in a queue and will be answered shortly.
I like to do things like
I had him on for about 3 minutes before he realized, if I could, if I could have got it to like 5 minutes, I might have tried doing the if you want to speak to me, press 1. If you are trying to sell something, press 2.
I like to mess with them, but I don't think I've ever reached the 5-minute mark. I always do. I'm so glad you called. I'm so lonely.
I do know someone who briefly worked for a telemarketing people though, and they're treated like shit. Their bosses are real arseholes.
Yeah,
I've done
they
the
really
job.
are.
I've had to do it myself.
This is why I always give them a chance right at the beginning to be honest about it. And if they're going to be honest, they get my respect. If they're not going to be honest, then I'm going to play with them because I figure that's fair game. You know?
Well, when I was doing it, I wasn't actually selling anything, but I was doing product surveys.
Oh.
Well, surveys I don't have a problem with, but we get very few of those.
I was doing newspaper sales.
People doing surveys are honest about it, I find. They tell me, oh, it's a survey, and if I have time, I'll do it. Otherwise, I have no problem with survey people. They're not scammers.
I was calling people up to ask, well, what is it that you like most about Betty Crocker brownies?
Okay.
Well, what made me angry is I was selling one of the most popular newspapers in the state, and most people already get it. It's like they already get newspaper delivery, so it's like, hi, you probably already have us, but do you want the Asbury Park Press? No, I already have it. Oh, that's okay. Have a nice day.
Yeah, I don't play with them. I just, I want to just get it over with as quickly as possible and get my number removed from the list so they don't keep calling me back.
Well, I'm on one of those do not call list, private number type things, and they still call me, and that's why I do that. I'm so glad you called. I'm so lonely.
If you're able to waste 15 or 20 minutes of their time, they'll usually blacklist you, and then you won't get any calls for half a year to a year before they start calling again.
Do any of you listen to Kit Boga?
No, who's that?
No.
Kit Boga is on Twitch. And if you do a search for his name, Kit Boga, I guarantee you'll find him. He does scam calls with the scammers. When all these people from the call centers in India or wherever call to try to screw you out of your credit card numbers and stuff like that through whatever malicious means they can. He has developed techniques to play along with them and waste as much time as possible. He has hit like 2 days worth that he's actually had gotten guys to call back the next day to try to hook them again, and they're of course unsuccessful. He has characters that he does with voice changers. That 5 6
Joe Lycett does that too.
He is just delightful to listen to. It is just so funny. He's got tens of thousands of listeners to his streams, and he's worth every bit of it.
Yeah. Well, one of the things with
yeah. Oh no, I was going to say. I mean, I do like good prank phone calls. I mean, some people are really good at doing that. There's other people who do them. I just don't find funny at all. But
Yeah.
As
Well,
long as
remember,
they're
these
not
are
abusive.
prank phone calls. He's taking on the people who are trying to screw you, and
yeah.
to screw them back.
Oh yeah. I mean, okay, no problems with that whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the best ones we had in the UK, must have been at least 10 years ago now. It was prank caller called Little Becky, and it was obviously someone whose voice sounded like a child. So she'd phone up these people, trying to, like pretending to be a young child, but it was just like, it was harmless fun the way it was done. Like, she phoned up some demolition company and so if they can come and just demolish her school,
Huh?
So it was quite sort of harmless, fun like that, and
My mother taught me how to do prank phone calls when I was little.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I didn't know any better, and she says, "Okay, I want you to call them, and I want you to start asking these questions." And she gave me a list of questions I had to go through. Because back then too, it's like the old-fashioned phone, so dumb questions like, "Hello, are you home?" Of course, they're home. They're answering their phone. Like stupid things, and then at the end, "Okay, thank you, bye bye." So nothing harmful. Just, "Are you home? Are you standing up? Are you sitting down?" It was dumb, but it was fun. I thought it was great. I was little. What do you want?
we of course, when we were kids, we did the classic order pizzas to somebody's house. But then we got worse, and we took the people in the neighborhood who were the mean people in the neighborhood, that were always yelling at the kids, "Get off my lawn," and stuff like that. And ordered them diaper service for twins.
Oh, we never did things like that.
Yeah, we didn't do that very often, but it was fun, because they worked during the day, and so we got them to agree to just leave the diapers there on the front porch.
Anyone accused us of not picking up our dog shit, though, my mother went out on mischief night and soaked in shaving cream their house because I wasn't allowed most of the time. I was sick, so my mother would go out on mischief night and fuck up people's place.
God, your mother was bad.
My mother's
Okay,
awesome.
mischief night. You had a designated night for this.
Yeah, because my mother would be like, "Oh, they accused that." But if she felt like it, she'd do it in July. Trust me.
Okay, so this was actually a specific night of the year, huh?
Yeah, it was like in
Not
Detroit. It was
always,
called
but
Devil's Night,
yeah, it's the day before Halloween.
and it kind of
Okay,
got out
well
of hand.
And
that's
then
why I
my
was wondering.
They actually ended up
mother would
burning
get
down
all
her
wound up,
stuff.
and she'd be like, "I've got 8 rolls of toilet paper and people to piss off. I'll see you later."
Oh, I used to love toilet papering houses. It was so much fun.
I used to get a lot of stuff when I was a kid, but I don't think I ever did a TP to anyone's house. I don't think I ever did that.
Yeah, it was a blast.
I just put in a link in the private chat to a YouTube channel called The Hoax Hotel. That's one of my favorites. That guy, he's brilliant at acting like a dumb chump, and he wastes sometimes hours of the marketer's time, and he knows how to use the phone system to call them back at their real numbers. So he calls them back, and he bothers them. And then they get mad at him and they swear at him in Indian languages and stuff like that. It's just
there are some of those scammers
this guy's
like
really
that,
smart.
that know how to get into their systems and to plant a virus right live on the air.
I have doubts about some of that,
And
but
here 20, 30 units going down.
Yeah, well, if I had the stuff, if I knew how to get their actual phone numbers, yeah, then I wouldn't mind doing that, about calling them back and wasting their time the same way.
Oh, and they keep blocking him, so he just changes his caller ID so he can keep calling them back and drives them up. Yeah, it's hilarious. Or one time he had two of the scammers, their competitors. He made them put them both in the same call. They hated each other. It was hilarious. He just sat there and listened to them do insults to each other for a while. And then he finally told them, do you guys realize what's going on here?
Yeah, Kit Boger's done that too.
Okay, hold on a bit.
Okay.
It's brilliant. He actually got a guy when he was doing one of his characters that what's the character name? I forget. Fuck. Anyways, well, it's a female character that he does with his voice changer. Nivea, the heaven spelled backwards was her name. And
oh dear,
he got this guy absolutely smitten with her to the point where the guy was ready to give up doing this bad stuff and come to America to meet her and marry her. This call was almost 14 hours or something like that he spent on with this guy, but it was legit. The guy was really in love with this character that he was creating. It was kind of sad when he finally revealed because he always reveals in his calls.
It's not always hard to scam the scammers because a lot of those scammers aren't very bright. Otherwise, they'd be in legitimate jobs, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not fair.
Yeah, it is because most of them really are dumb. Few of them are very smart. Most
I've
of them
had
are
that
dumb.
job though.
Yeah, but you weren't a scammer, were you?
No, I was selling
No, I'm talking
newspapers.
I'm talking about the
there's a
scammers.
big difference. These are the guys that are just stealing. That's their only purpose.
Oh.
I'm talking about the scammers. I'm not talking about legitimate stuff.
Have you ever gotten those like an email or just random pop-up ads that say, oh, your computer's infected, call this number right away?
No, but my mother
Those guys.
gets a lot of those, and
Those
she
guys.
always falls for it.
Yeah, these are the guys he goes after.
The Hoax Hotel went after one of those, and so they asked which operating system he has. So he mentioned some long outdated one, Windows 95, and the scammer still tried to get him to install the software, and it wasn't working. He's getting all these errors. It was hilarious.
Oh no!
I've seen Kit go in and tell him that when they ask what operating system do you have, he says, "Oh, Mac OS," and they still don't get it.
Yeah, they're mostly after the Windows users because that's a majority of people. I'm seeing that change in the corporate world already, though.
I've also seen ones where he has been able to activate their webcam and watch them while they tried to scam him.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
And then send them pictures of themselves.
Yeah. Oh, they must hate that.
Oh, they do. Oh boy, do they! When they get somebody who's smarter than them, they just let the cursing and
I'm going to say that's next level. That is absolutely next level doing that to them.
Yeah, that's awesome. I agree.
I'm sorry, I'm not
he goes
hearing
so
you.
far as he actually. Let's see, is it on Thursday nights?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think it's on Thursday night. He has a programming session where he writes applications. He wrote an application to replace WordPad in Windows.
Mm-hmm.
So that it looked and operated exactly like the official WordPad, except for the mistakes that he would put into it. So the guy's trying to write into WordPad, and it would all of a sudden, advance 4 or 5 spaces, or if it would backspace about 5 or 6, or it would repeat a character all in its own, and it would just fuck the dudes up.
Always little subtle things, right?
And they had no clue.
Okay.
And it's always little subtle things, right? Yeah. Drive him nuts.
You really got to check Kit Boga. It is a riot. It just really is a riot.
Send me the link, will you?
It's just on Twitch. I don't have a link for him. I just type in Kit Boga, Boga.
I'm okay with those kind of antics being used on these scumbags. Like in my IT work, I was always very serious with everybody I'm supporting. I never play jokes on the end users. I noticed some other staff would do that once in a while, but I never engaged in that. But when it comes to these scumbags, I said it's full throttle. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
This is slight sarcasm, but I really can't picture you not. Well, I can't picture you not serious, which is an honest thing. I was gonna rephrase that.
Who,
Yeah,
me?
yeah, I can't picture you when you're not serious.
She says you're a
Yeah,
skunk.
it doesn't happen often,
Okay.
so I'm not surprised.
I was gonna say that sarcastically, but it didn't come out sarcastically. So.
Well, even if you did, it would probably go over my head. I'm not good at detecting sarcasm and satire.
What I meant to say is you serious, never.
Mm. All right, guys,
You're
I'm
really
gonna have to
good at
drop.
serious.
Sorry, guys, I'm gonna have to drop out in a minute. Thanks for having me on, Purple.
Hey, I'm looking forward to talking to you soon, and I'll be getting back to you on the schedule.
Yeah.
Looks like it probably will be a go. I'm just trying to confirm some things first.
Yep.
Yeah,
well,
okay,
you're stopping
cool.
anytime.
Well, let me know because I'm hoping to get Mama Atheist to come on co-host with me as well because we've done a couple of things before. We kind of worked well together when we've done that. So
I like her.
know.
She's brilliant. She's a
Manda's cool.
Genius level stuff.
Manda is, I think, really underrated actually, like her climate change stuff.
Oh, she's making
especially.
waves in these communities. People keep Snoopy Saint was going on about her yesterday on another channel. It's like, holy cow.
I think when I first met her, I met her earlier this year. She had like 85 subscribers or something. And I said, "You're going to be like all of us around you. You're going to leave us in the dust before you know it." And she's like, "No way." And then what? She's like way surpassed like little group that I was around in. She's gone past all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
She's in the thousands or something, right?
Yeah, that's just because she was in Math Pig stuff. I picked up on her when she was like around 50 subscribers.
Yeah.
I think she's smart.
Yep.
She's smart. She does not have patience for like science denying types. No, because I think she's tried a couple of times to talk to flat earthers and she just does not. She'll admit it. She'll admit it. She's not got the patience to deal with them.
I don't blame her. She's smarter than that.
She's at the genius level of smarts, in my view. She disagrees with me, but I tell her she's not going to be able to convince me otherwise.
Yeah, and those are the channels that have really like been exploding in the past year or so, especially. Are these smart women who know how to put idiots in their place.
Yeah,
I ran some troll accounts like that. That was satisfying, very satisfying.
Well,
more misogynistic they are, the more satisfying it is.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of like Mama Rafe, like Navadia, she's kind of taken off over the last year or so as well, know. And I really love her content.
Yeah, and Shannon Q's been around less than 2 years.
I
thought she was around longer than that.
Huh. I think she's been around about
she kind of was,
3,
but yeah, she was, pretty slow at first. She wasn't really putting anything out.
Well,
it's only been about 2 years she's been putting things out regularly.
She was appearing on other people's channels.
Especially she was on Vice Rhino a lot.
She's on Vice Rhino, early days of the non-sequitur show, that sort of thing. So she was on like a lot of other people's. I think my first exposure to her was on non-set when she actually sat down and had that conversation with those incels, and I just was like, how has this woman got the patience to deal with these people? Because I'm listening to them and like,
it's her psychology. It's her psychology.
Yeah,
but I didn't know she was part of the non-sequitur show.
She was on a lot, but
she was on there quite a bit. Obviously, I think she's stayed well away from that since all that blew up. So, which I don't blame her.
I don't really.
I do not blame her.
I never really liked non-sec.
I'll be back in a minute.
I never really got into that show. I just a lot of drama, so I moved on.
Yeah, same here. It's like, I tuned in a couple of episodes. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I found I had more complaints than anything. So that's his point.
Anyway, I'm gonna have to shoot off now, guys.
Okay. I just added you to the Twitter list just so you'll get all the notifications anytime I'm doing a stream.
Cool. Okay. See you guys later.
Okay.
Have a
Bye.
good
Right.
one.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Oh dear. I'm trying to make a stew. It's not turning out.
Ah,
I admire anybody who knows how to cook.
Mm.
I can do basic stuff. I don't do anything fancy. A sloth girl is a great cook. So that's generally our agreement that most nights she makes dinner and then I do the cleanup.
It's kind of nice setup too.
I
Yeah,
do
so-
a lot of cooking.
That was kind of the thing of why we had to make sure we got, 2 apartments in the same building, because we couldn't actually share a space together. We drive each other crazy, but pretty much need to be close enough for me to go check on her every day.
And vice
Well, yeah, and she makes
Vice
sure I don't go
versa.
consecutive days without eating.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I've been known to go 3 days at a time without eating just because it doesn't occur to me if I'm busy with projects.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
I cook all kinds of things.
You love to cook?
Oh yeah, I'm very good at it.
I
Yeah.
try to boil water, and half the time I burn the pot.
Well, that's not really cooking.
It's
I cook. I
kind-
usually cook
it's
by
preparation for
smell.
cooking. It's preparation for cooking. I can't even get the prep stuff right half the time. So I try, but it just, for some reason, it doesn't work. It's that bad for me.
Okay. For a moment, I thought I put too much chili powder in. I mean,
Yeah, well-
sorry, like the cayenne pepper stuff that punches you in the mouth. I thought I overdid it, but I didn't. So it'll be safe.
Somebody told me that if I was on Gordon Ramsay's show, he'd probably have a heart attack.
Oh no!
Yeah.
It's like, okay, whatever. I don't care for him anyway. He's very rude, I find. Very angry.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone in my family who can't cook. So. And I think I had a lot of training. Because it's like, Frank made the best eggs, so Frank taught me how to cook eggs because I asked him to.
Cool.
Oh, you guys woke up. You little shit.
The Wonder-floof twins after you again?
Well, they were sleeping on top of the cat tree, and I wanted to take a picture.
Ah. Yeah, cats have this perception of when you pull out a camera.
And not the truth.
Just to make sure they're never caught doing anything.
Oh, Fiona, why did you move? You were perfect. You little shit. Oh. Yeah, they moved before I could even hit the button. Now she's dancing around my feet like I wasn't just sleeping.
Yeah, I keep getting that with Sammy, that, he'll be laying there looking cute, and I get the camera out, and it's like by the time I get it set up, he's just moved and just completely ruins whatever shot I was trying to get.
Or if you've got ongoing video surveillance, somehow it fails or has some kind of technical difficulty while they do something that you want to see them do.
Yeah.
They always time it somehow. Maybe they're behind UFO sightings. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, of
Well,
course.
see,
They're
some of
talking
them.
to their mothership.
No. Yeah, see, the native cats are not a problem. But there are a few thousand that are actually the Ornos. See, and these are aliens that are sent to observe us, and they disguise themselves as cats because this way they can observe every aspect of our daily lives without us paying any attention to them.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they care? We're so insignificant.
We're
Well,
in
they-
training because they're enslaving us.
No, they're scouts for the Galactic Alliance, and they make regular reports so they can determine when it might be safe for them to openly contact us.
Oh, we got to get rid of religion first.
Yeah, they've mentioned that.
Yeah.
My cats are constantly testing my training to see if I am worthy. They're always testing my training. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, if I do this new thing, will she adapt? Oh, yes, her adaptation skills are blah, blah, blah. If I do this to her couch, well, how will she react? Oh, that's positive. She didn't blow up. Oh, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I feel like, it's like, oh, I got away with this today. Got away with this today. Got away with that today. But Finney's kind of like, I don't know. Long story short, he came home a little sex machine and he fucked the tea towels. So
Yeah, I remember you were talking about that on Twitter.
yeah, I'm just a love machine. And I'm like, Finney, no, you're a cat. You're a cat. You're not a love machine. He doesn't agree. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
This was my solution. I compromised because I was not going to get Sammy to stop scratching the side of my recliner.
Okay.
So this is how I resolved the problem.
Oh, wow. I approve. I approve. Although right now, I really don't care if they screw up my furniture. My furniture's terrible anyway. Like I've got to be its like fifth owner. It's just disgusting. So
Yeah, well, the recliner's about the only thing I have, and I can't afford to replace it. So, although at this point it is pretty worn and faded because I got it used anyway. So I am considering the idea that I'm going to study upholstery again, and maybe I'll try to reupholster it myself.
You have a chair? Wow.
Yep, I've got a recliner that I got secondhand.
Wow, recliner, no less.
Yeah. Well, I can't really sit in a regular chair. If I sit in a chair with my feet on the floor, it strains my back. So yeah, when I'm on the computer, I'm in my recliner, usually sitting cross-legged with the keyboard across my knees.
I like to sit in lazy boy and get a lot of work done on the computer. I don't like regular chairs; they're uncomfortable. Although I have a gaming chair that's not bad, but I never used it for gaming. My dad gave it to me actually.
I'd like to rip the front seat out of my car and turn that into a gaming chair.
Sorry, you broke up.
I'd like to rip the seat out of my car and use that as a gaming chair.
Those car chairs are very, very comfortable for long durations. They're designed for it.
Yep.
My car isn't. I call that the ass destroyer.
Oh, what kind of car have you got?
It's a Pontiac.
Oh, a little Acadian?
No.
I had one of those.
No, mine's just a piece of shit.
I bought mine for $1.
I wish I had bought mine for $1, then I wouldn't feel bad about getting rid of it.
It had a hole in the bottom.
A year and a half to pay for it before I can feel better about getting rid of it.
Today I've got a Suburban and I'm very happy with it. It's a very comfortable ride.
I bought my used car 5 years ago for $1,500, and I have no intention of getting rid of it.
The Acadian Pontiac I bought, I was still in high school working at this company that got bought by a competitor who unfortunately shut everything down, but that's capitalism for you. But the partners of this company that I was at, they were selling off assets, and basically they wanted to give me one of the company cars. And so I had to buy it for $1 because of paperwork regulations. Yep. And so I asked if they want cash or check, and they laughed. I never actually did give them $1, but they put on the paper that I did. And I found a little black film canister with a little gray top in the. Oh, hi there. Well, I'll have to cut back to you guys.
Yeah, the car I got now, I wound up. I picked up for $1,500. It had been sitting basically mothballed for I don't know how many years. So the front end was messed up. So I paid $1,500 for it, and I paid a mechanic another $1,500 to rebuild the whole front end. So for $3,000, I've gotten a serviceable car that, you know, I've had running for 5 years with minimal maintenance, and it's not having any problems. It's a cheap little Econobox hatchback, but, you know, gets me around.
Any car you can get purchase price down to $1 a day, you've done real good.
Yep. Well, that's, yeah, I definitely figure, you know, if spreading out the purchase and the maintenance, if I can do it for $1,000 a year, I'm doing excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
So
getting climbed.
Yeah, I have to get new tires on it before the snow falls. That's the next big budget item.
Oh, go get some genuine snow tires.
Well, then I got to pay to have them put on and off the rims all the time.
No, you save up it, and when spring comes around, you get yourself another set of steel rims.
Yeah, I'm finding for my car they're hard to find, and even if I can find them, they're close to $100 each.
No way, no way. What year and model is it?
It's a 2002 Ford Focus, which, even though it's a small car, it's got 16-inch rims.
Oh.
So yeah, finding 16-inch Ford rims with a 4-bolt pattern has proven to be difficult. Because usually any vehicle that's got 16-inch rims has at least 5 bolts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual to have a 4-bolt in that pattern.
Yeah. So apparently they didn't put them on that many cars, so, you know, even the scrapyards don't find them very often.
No, a lot of the manufacturers are doing mostly alloys now, so steels are getting hard to find for some cars.
Yeah, and that's what I found, that, yeah, the standard for this one was alloy rims, that the steel were an option, but not many people opted for the options on these because they're, like I say, it's a cheap Econobox.
Does that have that 2.3 liter overhead cam, twin overhead cam?
It's 2.0 dual overhead.
Oh, okay. The
I
later
want a
engine that they put in there, that 2.3 twin cam, holy fuck, is that a great engine?
Well, like I say, this car's 17 years old. I don't know how long it sat that nobody was driving it, but I haven't had any problems with the engine at all. You know, a couple of sensor malfunctions. That was it.
I want a hybrid.
Yeah, they'd be nice. Although the hybrids and the electric cars aren't quite as green as most people think they are.
I know that. Nothing is. But
yeah,
I want a hybrid.
A friend of mine had one. That was like 10 years ago. I forget what model it was he had.
Well, they've improved since then.
Yeah, I'm sure they have. You know, and even that one, I drove it. I borrowed it from time to time, and I didn't see anything wrong with it. Nothing I would have complained about. Excuse me.
I would love to strike it rich and buy a fucking Tesla. It would be so much fun.
I know 2 people who have Teslas, and they love them.
What you do is you buy a Tesla, and then you go to these late night, in the dark on a unknown street, drag races that people have, and run them for their title, and the Tesla will win almost every time. It's the fastest damn car on the planet.
I didn't realize they had that kind of performance.
Yes, they do. It's electric.
What kind of car? Oh, the Teslas. Yeah, I see them accelerate like mad here.
Like 2.3 or something like that.
Yeah,
that's
very powerful.
motorcycle territory.
Now, I saw, Jenny, maybe you know something about this with your knowledge that you have on all this automechanical stuff. I saw some advertisements a while ago for getting the Suburban that I have specifically converted over to electric. Do you know if those are good options, or are they things I should stay away from?
You end up spending about
Amen.
as much as you would if you went and bought a different car that was electric.
They're telling 8,000 US.
I don't believe it. It's not a very good quality.
Okay,
Fiona.
that's good to know. Then that's
The
something to stay
battery
with.
alone for a suburban-sized vehicle should run around 4,000 or 5,000. And
Sorry?
That would be my guess, that if at that price they're probably using an undersized battery, and it probably would have very good range.
Yeah, that'd be a concern, right? So,
yeah,
What
no,
the
don't do it.
Well, and one drawback of electric cars in particular is cold climates, because the colder the battery is, the less you get out of it.
oh yeah.
I thought it was hot because of the air conditioner drains it more.
Well, hot's not good either.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll drain it as well.
yeah, and that's the thing, that batteries, really like an ideal range. If they go
That's why I want a
basically below
hybrid.
60 or above 80, they're not happy.
A hybrid seems like a smart option.
And
You know,
especially
you have the
lithium batteries.
You have a little bit of, the best of two worlds.
Yeah, well,
Stop
and hybrids, you don't have the
talking.
range concern, because you can still fill up at a standard gas station if you're going on a long trip.
Right, and there's nowhere to plug in around here. Hi, sweetie.
So I was just on the phone with my phone company about getting a toll-free number for the True North Talk Show program.
Oh,
Cool.
Oh, good.
So we're considering some vanity number options.
Oh dear.
Oh, it doesn't cost extra for that. It just means we get to choose the number. Sorry?
1-866 fuck God.
Yeah, that's not our style, but that would be definitely be a popular one.
I'd be very happy.
Sorry?
Saying. I'd be very happy with that, just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to appeal to a broad audience and we want to do it in a way that is professional. So it's definitely, we'd want something more social than that.
Oh.
But it's a great idea.
I'm not very social.
And yet here you are, socializing with us.
Yes.
Sorry to prove you wrong, Faye. You're a delight to speak with.
Oh, no, thank you. I got a very tired kissy kitty right now. Very tired kissy kitty.
Oh, there we are.
Hey, you guys, don't tell her. But I've had a crush on Faye for years now.
Yay! Well, somebody's gotta like me. Right?
A lot of people like you. You keep going into that. And it's like, yeah.
She's so smart. How can you not love her?
And how many people donated to buy you the cat tree?
True. And it's the happiest thing I've got. And it's the newest thing I've got. And the cats love that. I highly recommend that cat tree.
You should send some videos of it. Put it up on YouTube if you get the chance.
Okay. I've did some photos, but
Love to see your cats actively climbing and playing on it.
You said you got a cat tree. Why didn't you get an apple tree or a bat tree or a dat tree? There's no dat tree. Stop saying that.
it actually has leaves though. My cat tree. So they think they're hiding, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And they use it for ambushing each other, and they think I can't find them, but I can. And it's nice. And it's really funny, and I don't know.
They want to be found. They
Well-
want to be found. They've got you fooled.
Sometimes they want to hide.
Sammy is quite good at hiding. I'm not sure where he goes. He's got a couple places that I really can't find him. And it's not a very big apartment, so I'm kind of confused about where he could be getting into.
Check high places.
I had a cat totally disappear in a completely empty apartment.
Yep.
Because I was moving and I couldn't find my cat. And my friend went back an hour later and found him. And we still don't know where the hell he disappeared to. But if a cat wants to disappear, they disappear.
Yeah. And I
Even if
am
there's
used to checking
nothing.
high places for Sammy. In my apartment in Michigan, he figured out how to get up on top of the kitchen cabinets.
Well,
That he'd
also
hop up on top of the fridge and get up above the cabinets, and he
they'll
liked to
also
hang out there.
ride the door. They will ride the top of the
Yep.
door.
Yeah, so actually with my my shelving and entertainment center here, I had already designed that with that in mind, that for him to get up on the top shelf, which is about 6 feet above the floor.
Huh.
So I'm intentionally leaving a space up there for him to get up there.
I get it.
Riding the door.
There you go. I have another picture I can't find of it on top of a door inside a house.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just sitting there, balanced. They're amazing.
Yep. I've seen him do that, of sitting up on top of the door.
How come you got a tree growing out of the back?
My little girl is so tired, and I want to put her on her cat tree again, and I feel so bad because she seems so comfortable. But I want to put her down. Yeah. I'm gonna go sit in the cat tree to sleep. I had them spay and neutered last week. They had the big snip. No, I thought they were gonna hate me. That's always my big fear whenever I get a cat surgically altered.
Oh, yeah. Well, anytime you take them to the vet, you're always, worried about them resenting you for it. Because you can't explain to them what's going on.
Oh, when they take revenge, they don't normally do it right away. So it'll catch you by surprise.
Well, apparently the receptionist really likes them. Because when I brought them in, she goes, "Wait, you're the one with the polydactyl, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Did you bring both of them?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I handed her Fiona. Like, there you go. There's the kissy kitty. She will lick your t-shirt.
Yeah, I think Sammy's Canadian because he's always apologizing and he never does anything wrong.
I'm teaching mine that they have full reign in the house. So, they
What are
think
you
they're
doing, Jenny?
misbehaving, but they're not.
Just refilling your water, or is there some special thing?
My drink holder only fits that bottle, and this one's too big. But this is the cheapest water in town. So,
hey, Tria.
I hear you. So I don't know about you, but I think I could do anything as long as I have cats.
Yeah, I can tell that they've been really good for you, that your general mood has definitely been better since you've had them.
No. When Patsy died, my heart broke into a million different ice shards. So.
Yeah, and I get that too. Whenever I've lost one of them, it's really difficult, but I've generally had multiple cats, so I've generally always still had at least one around.
No, but before these two, I had Patsy, who could only be a single cat because she wanted to kill all cats. And I had Gromit, who didn't like other cats because he had physical issues. He had been mauled by a dog when he was a kitten.
Oh,
So he had spent a year in a a cast and all this other stuff, and he was shaped like a bulldog because of it.
a whole year.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And he was basically living with a vet. And the original owners just gave him up because they thought, oh well, he's gonna die. But she saved him, and my family adopted him, and my sister had him forever, and then he came to live with me. And I tried to make it a 5-star hotel, and we had the heating blanket, and if the heating blanket turned off, he would go, put it back on, please. I had to do that, and I catered to his every need, but when he died, it was awful. And then got Patsy, and Patsy was an adult, and it was like all the cats hate her and she hates them. And I went, okay, she can live with me. So she came to live with me, and I didn't realize how old she was, and I kept thinking of her as like I just got her, because every time I turn around, like she'd like this toy, and she'd be like, no, I don't like that toy anymore. She'd like this food, and she'd be like, no, I don't like that food anymore. And she would have habits, and she'd be like a whole new cat, like every like month or two. So it was like constantly learning Patsy. Well, Patsy wasn't sick. Patsy didn't show signs of aging. Patsy. And then when she died, I found out that she was the last living of her litter. She was the oldest one of her litter. All the others had already died like a year or 2 or 3 before her.
Wow.
So I didn't realize.
Yeah. We had been trying to get Petunia and Sammy's son to live together, but Petunia's a bully, and I guess Sammy's son just would rather be on his own.
Yeah, some cats are like that. But that way, I asked my landlord, can I have a cheeseburger? And she thought about it, and she said, yes, you can has cheeseburger. And I said, before I go get cheeseburger, can I have 2 cheeseburgers? And because I haven't had 2 in a long time. And she goes, yes, you can have 2 cheeseburgers. So that's why I have them.
Can I have cheeseburger?
With or without the spicy cheese?
Oh,
Do
no
you
spicy.
like pepper jack?
Actually, pepper jack is one of the things I can't eat.
Oh, okay, good.
I really don't like spicy.
Oh, okay.
But pepper jack's in my realm of being able to eat.
Well,
And now we have Doorknob Head. So there
Oh.
goes the neighborhood.
Doorknob Head, you missed the pee and poo comment.
A whole litter
Sorry.
of blender accidents. I think blender accident sounds more classy.
Sorry, you missed it already. But if you want to find out what I was talking about, go to Amazon and look up Poop Like a Champion. It's not just a cereal, it's a colon cleanse. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to have to listen to the whole thing to find out the rest. Mm-hmm.
We were discussing gastrointestinal leakage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think if you go and replay the chat, I think that's somewhere just after the 2-hour mark, between 2 and 2.5 hours. We were talking about all that.
I tuned out.
Doorknob Head. I'll just check out my copy of Faye Pee and Poo Weekly. And Robert, I like really spicy food myself, but not to the point where I am. I want to be able to taste my food. Like if I put my tongue on it and it doesn't taste like chicken, and it is chicken, and then I don't have to imagine it tasting like chicken, then I like it.
Yeah, one of the best pieces of fan art I've ever seen. I don't remember who drew it, and I didn't get a copy of it. But Neil and Aaron Ra was in one of Neil's after shows, and they were going on about, talking about the hottest chili peppers and that sort of thing, and kind of getting into a macho contest over who could eat the hottest thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, the next day, somebody posted an illustration in the Twitter group of Neil sitting on the toilet and a crack in the side of the toilet with lava coming out.
I like that. Does really he think he can out spicy a Texan?
Sure, you can. Texans are wimps.
Oh no.
They just talk big.
I don't do the spicy stuff myself, so I have too much problem with the stomach acid.
When I had my shop in Milwaukee, a couple of guys that worked there were macho shitheads that had to, always outdo each other with how hot they could eat. And so I made some hot sauce for them. This is in the day when the habanero was the hottest thing you could get.
Right.
And they weren't really familiar with habaneros. They'd heard of them, but they'd never actually had them themselves. And so I made this habanero sauce with horseradish in it.
Oh, that
So
sounds good.
it would not only burn your tongue, but it would float up into your sinuses and burn them too.
Nice.
And I got both of these guys to actually cry.
See, I've had chicken wings that robbed me of my voice for 3 days, but they were very delicious. But spicy, like you can get yourself accustomed to spicier and spicier food. It just takes work. Or you can grow up with my mom and have like constant spicy things all the time. My cousins don't do spicy. We're at Christmas. My uncle comes up to me and he goes, "Close your eyes, open your mouth." Okay. And he puts a jalapeno potato chip in there, like the kettle ones. They were new at that time. Yeah, I'm that old. And of course, I bet it was spicy. And it was like, "Ooh, that's good." So my cousin's like, "It's my turn." She closed her eyes. She's like, and he sticks a potato chip in there, and she's like, "Ah!" It was funny.
Yeah.
They do that to us all the time with fresh horseradish, which, by the way, will burn your eyes if you're like in the grading room. Holy.
One of the first times that I ever made my own, I always grew my own horseradish.
Oh wow! Do you grate it too?
Yeah. And
Yeah, my father
first
used
time
to
I
grow his
graded
own too.
the first time I graded it, nobody had warned me.
It's
And
like getting
I
kicked in
ground
the
it up
face with a horse.
in a food processor, and I went to take a whiff of it, and I did, and it literally knocked me on my ass.
That's powerful stuff.
And I had to run quickly through the kitchen to the back door and go out on the porch because my nose and lungs started to just bleed mucus. I swear I put out a quart of mucus within 10 seconds. It was just the grossest, most painful thing I've ever gone through.
I love horseradish.
Yeah,
I
me
do.
too.
I even have a horseradish cheddar cheese in my refrigerator right now. And it is
Horseradish what?
Cheese.
Horseradish cheddar cheese?
It's really good.
They put the horseradish in the cheddar cheese?
Uh-huh. So it turned out soft and...
Really?
Oh, it's so good.
That would be.
It's so flavorful, but it's not like too spicy and it's not too sharp. It's just perfect.
I put horseradish on my hamburgers if I make hamburgers. It's just...
I can't eat spicy.
No, I can't.
Because even a mild spice, it can be painful for me the way it tastes. I just don't enjoy it.
I have a problem with the acid reflux, so anything spicy, I wind up burping up stomach acid.
I've got a cast iron stomach, so bring it on.
Most of the horseradish that you buy in a jar in the United States is grown about 20 miles away from here.
Awesome.
We produce almost the entire world's supply of horseradish.
We used to get ours at the German butcher shop, but since I moved up here, I buy it from a local who makes it. but he only like sells 12 jars a year, and I don't know if it's good horseradish or bad.
If you can get a horseradish root, and you've got somewhere that you don't care being taken over by horseradish, you put the root in the ground and it grows.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
and
Just like a carrot.
oh yeah, oh no, it's just this big clump of random roots that you have to dig every year, and you take out whatever you can.
Yeah.
But you leave one piece of it in there, it's gonna grow a new plant.
It's a
Yep.
rhizome, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
it's
that's my
so
dad
easy
used
to
to grow it, and that's
but
what
it
he
will
did.
take over everything.
Yeah. Yeah, was that
It's a
every
beautiful
fall
plant.
he'd take it out and just, put like one fist-sized piece back in. And
The thing is, I'd like to do that with ginger, but it gets too cold here to overwinter it.
To what?
Cold here to overwinter it, so I grow it indoors, and then it'll get to the point where it breaks the pot.
Oh, really? That big of a hand?
Ginger? Yeah. Ginger
Wow.
will break it.
There's a bunch of people around here that harvest wild ginger, and they're absolutely murderous about protecting their plots. The people have actually murdered each other over discovering plots of ginger, of wild ginger. It's very lucrative if you can harvest it.
Because it's cold weather. That shit's hard to grow in cold weather
You
in
can get
certain
like $75
temperatures.
a pound for it.
oh yeah,
I love it.
Wow.
although a
Okay.
pound of ginger is an awful lot. Because most things you're only using like a couple of grams.
Not the way I eat it.
I'd like to grow saffron.
My fiance used to like, ginger tea was good for settling her stomach.
The whole world wants to grow saffron.
China
That shit's expensive.
China buys much of their ginger from Wisconsin.
Did it take like a football field to get an entire like pound of saffron?
Oh, I don't know.
That stuff is worth more than gold.
But if you grew like 30, 40 crocuses, you could, it's just the stamen. You could pull out enough stamens to serve your own needs at home.
Yeah, because that's a beautiful herb. I mean, like spice. It's just wonderful.
How come so many Americans don't pronounce the H on so many words?
Because our grandmothers used to hit us with rulers every time we did.
Yeah, it's herbs.
Okay.
Did I say it without the H?
Yeah, because here in Canada we say it with the H.
If I said it with the H, my grandmother would have like hit me with a ruler.
That's a good reason to not do that.
When I got to New Jersey, the first thing she did was try to change my entire accent.
Wow.
Turn it into a Jersey accent?
Well, she was just trying to get rid of the California influence, was what she was saying. But I still won't say almond, I say almond. She said almond. She's like, it's almond. I said, no, there's an L in it. She said coupon, and I say coupon.
Oh,
I'm like, there's no Q in it.
Actually, here in Canada, it's common to say coupon.
Yeah.
Nana said coupon, I say coupon.
Yeah.
But I still call it a hoagie, and I refuse to call it a grinder.
Roof or roof?
Oh boy.
Crick or creek?
La 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 la.
Route or root?
Anyway. So how long are you doing this for, Purple?
Oh, I'm shutting it down about an hour and a half ago.
An hour and a half ago?
Yeah.
Oh, we're almost at 3:22 now.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just wondering what else I could put in the oven.
Yeah. About 2 hours is all I'm planning to do today.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to get going because I really wanted to take a nap this afternoon.
Yeah. Actually, I probably should shut down here.
Because, that's what we old people do, is take naps.
I take lots of naps. What are you talking about?
Take the cue.
Well,
She's learning from her cats.
okay. I'm going to assume that's Jenny Morgan taking all the naps that I can never get one.
I do take more than my fair share, yes.
If
But
I can't sleep,
but
I
if I
do.
lived near Faye, I wouldn't, because I'd be too busy snuggling and cuddling.
I don't like to be touched by people.
Oh,
That's the problem. I'm one of those people.
oh.
Mhm.
Are
I
you sure
don't.
we could- sure we could try that?
I don't touch people. I
Are you sure we
haven't
couldn't try
touched.
to reprogram you?
I'm positive.
Okay, just checking.
Like I'm beyond asexual at this point. It's true.
That's okay. I still love you.
You're
Yeah.
allowed. But yeah, I don't like touching people.
Yeah, it's one of those things that people were telling me that my sex drive was supposed to slow down when I got older. I was like, no, it's not happening.
It sounds like you're normal.
Oh, well, I tell you
I'm
what,
frustrated because I was living for 6 years in a town where I didn't even dare try normal dating. And, now I moved here and then we've got the COVID, so not really someplace I can be meeting new people.
yeah.
I tell you what, take some of my cardiac meds. They'll shut that libido right down.
I've had a lot of medications over the years that they said that was going to happen. And there were a couple of instances where, yes, it cut down on my ability, but not the desire.
Oh. Well, read a lot of books on germs. That should kill it.
Oh, there's a lot of books on what?
Germs and diseases.
Oh.
That should kill it. It's like one of my favorite things to read about.
Disease theory.
I was reading a book of it was called The Royal Art of Poison or whatever, and they were talking and they're like, oh, and the king loved her and she was so beautiful. And when we examined her grave, it was full of like tapeworm. So it's like, yeah, he was going to bed with a woman who had tapeworm crawling out of her constantly.
Unless germs turn you on.
You
know what?
I'm not kink shaming, but ew.
You know what? 2 books I used to read obsessively.
Vices for everything.
Pretty weird. I used to read Goodman and Gilman, The Pharmacological Basis of Therapeutics, and Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, I have Grey's Anatomy. I had that for when I took anatomy and physiology. But you read too much about this, that, and the other thing, and things that people have, carry, can get, blah, blah, blah. You start not wanting to touch anything.
That was one of the greatest presents I got from my fiance. Was I found her a copy of Grey's Anatomy. That was one of the things she got most excited about.
People can get pregnant too.
Another good one for people like that is Tabor's Cyclopedic Medical Dictionary. Try to buy the most current one you can, though.
I swear the next book I read after Grey's Anatomy was The Complete Cockroach, but complete is spelled the Middle English way.
The Royal Art of Poison.
Yep, it was a very enjoyable read.
Well, poisoning was a popular way to murder people in the UK back in the 1800s.
Oh, it's been around for forever.
Oh,
But
yeah,
it was by Eleanor Herman, I think. And they go, of course, they have to have a chapter or 2 on deadly cosmetics. But some of the stuff, and the unicorn horns, very funny. Very funny.
What were they passing off as unicorn horn?
They will, narwhal tusks.
Okay.
Of course, all these unicorns are dying on all these frozen beaches, right? And leaving behind nothing but the horn. And detect poison. Oh, all this other stuff. Very funny, very funny, very funny.
Yeah, I do remember a lot of the stories about them supposedly detecting poison.
Oh, it's great. Like, they're eating their rubies and their emeralds and their. Oh, it's just. Oh, I love that book. It's so funny. It's so well narrated too. If you get it on Audible or if you get the audio book from the library, it's totally worth it. It's a hoot.
Well, now I have to hang in there for another 5 minutes because we're almost at 3.5 hours.
Yeah, that's okay. If we, go around the thing and see if anybody's got anything they need to promote.
Oh, I don't. I want to put together something and I ended up hurting myself and I haven't put it together and now I'm wondering if I should even bother.
Yeah, I can't do anything besides the live streams until I wind up getting my new computer because the laptop just really can't handle recording anything.
Hmm.
Oh, I want to do an improv night, so it has to be live.
Well, that should be fun.
Yep.
I'd like to start it like this week, but I'm waiting until Nadine gets home and she gets settled because I'm gonna pay her to produce it for me because I can't do like 100 things at once. I'm very bad at multitasking, and just directing the improv is gonna be hard enough. But if anyone's interested in popping in and doing it, let me know.
Oh yeah,
Because I'm not going to make it easy.
I might be interested in joining in on that.
Yeah, I could probably do a bit of improv. It's been a very long time since I've done anything like that.
I won't claim I'm good at it though, but maybe I can learn.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You don't have to be good at it. You just have to have fun.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, sounds great.
This
Count me in.
isn't like no one's getting a reward at the end. I can tell you that. Just, if you're willing to make an ass of yourself, let's go. But there are going to be limits because there's several things I don't want on my channel. So let's just put it out there now. I don't want suicidal ideation. Let's not joke about children. And
If you're concerned about all this, I have to ask, what kind of show do you have in mind?
no, it's just some people when they're on they automatically think that they can. I've had problems in the past. Let's just put it that way.
Oh no,
That content is no longer on my channel, so
that's fair.
there's certain things I'm just not comfortable with. Let's just
Yep.
put it that way.
Fair enough.
Yep.
And I don't think anyone did it on purpose in order to like ruin things, but it's like, please don't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's reasonable.
Oh dear. I gotta tell my sister. There's a book that she needs to get us. I gotta give her money. Oh, fuck.
What book?
I'll tell you after I listen to it because I don't want to like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll be doing this again tomorrow at midnight.
Well, I just have one thing to promote is, of course, the Canadian Atheists at canadianatheist.ca, and also one of our projects that we'll be putting forward soon that I'm working on with Neil, the truenorthtalk.ca.
Yay!
Thanks for hosting this very long show, Purple Rhymes with Orange.
Yeah, well, this was pretty common for mine of, 4 or 5 hours. I've actually had some that have run over 9 hours.
Wow.
That's usually when the Lavender Lady got involved. My earlier shows that
okay.
I'd get going with her and we'd be talking all night.
Yeah, she's easy to shoot the shit with.
Oh, yeah. and very enjoyable too.
Yeah. So yeah, and tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock Central, I'll be on Hobbs Watch. He's going to, well, not really an interview, but just I'll be on his channel chatting with him. And then Sunday, because it is National Coming Out Day, Sunday at 2 o'clock, I'm going to be doing a special edition. And I'm, basically, I want to get as many people as possible to just come on and tell their stories about coming out. And that's mostly it's an LGBT thing, but, also about coming out of religion, because you face many of the same issues.
I'll have to be an observer on this one because I don't have anything I've ever come out on.
Yes.
Same, basically.
Yeah, but I will tune in for it.
Friday night.
What? What about your Friday night?
Purple has on Friday night. He might be on movie night
Ooh.
if he decides he wants to be.
Yeah, might be. Kind of depends how I'm feeling at that point and whether or not I've gotten any sleep in between the Thursday night thing and.
And that's 10:30 Central Time.
Yep.
On the Sci-Strike channel. And I'll be there too.
Okay, and there's Amiga's got the link for Hobbs Watches tomorrow. And he got the link up there for the True North.
Thank you.
You'll have an advantage of me because I'm East Coast. So the late night stuff is usually cutting it close to me being a complete zombie.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get me too late at night, I'll say the most awful things. You think poop like a champion's weird? Ha! Anyway.
Well, when I get on other people's channels, I've learned not to drink when I'm running the show. Mm-hmm. There needs to be somebody else to cut me off if I get out of control. And if you want an example of that, go look at the Stool stream that he did late last night. I came in about halfway through, but by the time I got there, I'd already had about 5 shots of whiskey.
Ooh.
I think I'll skip.
No, I think it was pretty funny, but...
No, I just don't want to watch Stool.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, so thank you everybody for coming. Mm-hmm. And again, thanks to Greg Warwick for being my Patreon. He actually sends me money every month to be doing this.
Thanks, Greg.
And if I can get a few more patrons, if I get, Patreon up to just $15 a month, then I can be getting the paid version of StreamYards, which among other things would mean having 10 people in here instead of just 6. So, that's my goal at this point, but I can't really afford to be putting more money into the channel. So it needs to kind of become self-sufficient.
And if we get you up to 20, you'll be able to afford enough lubricant for an entire month?
Yep.
No. I kind of
and a special thanks to Geo Sam, who bought me the new case for my computer build.
Yeah, good going, Sam.
So, and with that, then, I will bid you all adieu and see you. So I'll be back on tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
Take care.
So in about 20 hours. So.
I don't.
Bye-bye all.
Bye-bye.